over the wall, Zeus! You gave him this matchup, and he is taking it and throwing it in your face!
Oh my god, they might be able to dive Doran here as well. Is risky, and with Bone Blading still up, not deciding to go for it. Why would they? They got the kill. What a beautiful stun by Zeus, and we were expecting the action to be towards the bot side of the map. Well, there is some there as well, but T1 really going all in on actually enabling this Aurelia, and Aurelia has been kind of a hit or miss champion. What we've seen, right, over the last splits, we've seen some really high impact days. Closer comes to mind, but they have one thing in common. When Aurelia's doing well, it's when she's allowed to snowball, it's when she's played towards. And right now, not only is T1 winning the topside matchup, but they're doing so while drawing attention from Peanut, so Peanut doesn't get to snowball the bottom half of the map.
Yeah, and they're killing him too.
And they're killing him, right?
I got him, he said. He almost was like, whoa, like, I got him. That was cool.
It's the worst of both worlds. You don't actually get to stifle the Aurelia, and you also don't get to feed your Draven. Pace hasn't died yet, and bot lane is still in a decent state, even with the kill that Gumayushi got, because hasn't snowballed from there. But not getting your Draven a kill in, say, the next 15 minutes into an Aurelia is going to be a very tough affair.
Owner's just going over the wall, and okay, not going to be able to smite it away, but here comes T1 looking to take the fight afterwards. Owner in a lot of trouble, but he is getting that stun on Toby, who will be the first one to go down, as Ingo's Peanut will trade it back. The mid laners are down, but look at Guma just doing that damage, and Curry has full health! The support is getting in there, he's still going to take everybody out, as now Peanut is like, well, I'm not going to be able to take down Guma and Owner as they back away very nicely, and Carry is just going to be able to alley-oop that kill over to the side of Gumayushi, so a big fight win again to T1.
Only upside for Gen G is, yeah, they got the Drake, they got the cash in on Drave, and that's nice for Pace at least, but T1 answer back with so much more. Able to get a couple of key kills. Gumayushi now, even further fed, and this contest initially looks to be somewhat risky, but look at the health bars here. They're already fairly low, and crucially, the Light doesn't have tippers available yet, so a lot of power not quite there. And again, it's Keria with the zone control that just ruins this fight, because they are trying to collapse onto Owner. We see the early ultimate from Chovy. He tries and take the Sejuani down, but just because Keria is standing there menacingly at the entrance of the pit.
Yeah, how many times have we seen teams just throw everything into a Sejuani? He's not even tanky yet, and it still is not a good idea. Especially when you're overextending to try to do that. It just feels like T1, you know, playing a little bit more balanced, a little bit more to their win conditions, and Gen G are just scrambling a bit here so far. As Keria is top lane, there were no pings that I could see from Doran, who is now pushing forward to try to harass.
He has Hex Flash, and he has his ultimate. Hop's now gone.
Doran is going to respect it. Now, Owner's here too.
Yeah, so Keria can finish his back and Owner can still be here. Loving this coverage. Just making sure that Zeus is going to be safe. There is a small window here, if not for the fact that look at this vision on the top half of the map, right? We can't highlight it, but just take a look at the river. Take a look at the Tri-Brush. Zeus has so much control from the rest of his team, and we see the only gold lead available right now for Gen G is just because Pace got that one cash in, so the Draven at least is not going to feel too horrible about his direct lane matchup, but you're still playing Draven into a lot of enemy aggression, and if Keria ever gets an ultimate off, if Zeus gets backline access, he's still going to be in deep trouble.
And Peanut's here again, but, you know, the ganks from him have not quite hit the mark in terms, I mean, he's been in the right place, quote unquote, you know, trying to help out his top lane, trying to get Doran through this matchup. He hasn't been able to help bot because of it, as we mentioned, but yeah, hasn't quite been as effective so far. So we'll hope that Peanut can kind of get something going on the Wukong now, especially because he is level 6, as Keria is just going on an expedition of his own. The Light will respect that.
And now there are still win conditions for Gen G later in the game, but you got to keep the deficit to where it is right now. And T1 are doing a really good job, and they're, in my opinion, our best snowballing team that we have within the league at the moment at pushing these leads further. Zeus, once he goes back, probably going to be done with his Bladed Rune King, so any skirmish he joins already becomes basically unwinnable for Gen G. Also see that Chovy going back to the build that we used to go to on Silas. Oh, Pace.
Yeah, Pace is not a flash. He is in a lot of trouble as Owner is coming forward here, and there's the burst from the arrow from Guma downtown as now Peanut is desperate to try to trade one back, and he will be able to, as Delight now trying to do that damage. Owner doesn't have much himself, but
Tibbers?
Yeah, Tibbers is really getting in there. Our 5th champion in the trade. Tibbers getting that damage in as Tibbers might be able to get the last tip, but no, it will be Peanut who steals it away from Tibbers. As now Chovy trying to get in the front line, a big Nautilus ultimate onto both. As Faker in a little bit of trouble, does not quite have flash yet, but Chovy doesn't have the damage yet, I don't believe, as he will get hooked under turret, but, you know, Chovy's pretty tanky at this point. Also going for the Everfrost build, actually. And yeah, he's just going to back away from this one without a kill in his pocket.
Both top laners had teleport, neither of which wanted them to invest that. And, oh, Doran. Oh no. There's a lot of gold in Zeus' pocket, so I wouldn't be surprised. No, he does actually cancel his back there. I
Flash too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he's sitting on like a full blade back. Once he does actually go for it, hasn't gone back in the longest time. And the unfortunate reality for Pace is that you can't do a lot about that Nautilus combo. Carry out does really nicely, and the damage from Guma still comes through. But then already, even though this is Delight as just level 6, in this longer fight, Timbers unironically does do a lot of damage. Right, Peanut's a level down, but the damage that Delight is able to provide is still fairly substantial. Then here Chovy's TP comes in, and again, I want to draw attention to like Carry as Nautilus, right? Being able to make sure that he actually buffers the Q there, so that even though he does get hit by his own ultimate, he is completely fine, and then subsequently also saves his own mid laner.
That is a clone.
That is a clone.
Yeah, it's a hook and it chains into a clone, but they did get this, and guess what, guys? It's a Hextech Soul for game number 1. So we've already had 13 kills in 13 minutes, and now we're going to have a bunch more because both of these teams cannot let this one go away. It's too strong. This blade did finish for Aurelia, by the way.
Yeah.
Just pick that up.
Unleash teleport now available. Will be there for Zeus and Doran, who, as mentioned, didn't get baited into trying to go for some bottom place. Pace, unfortunately, with that kill that they were able to find on him, was unable to get a second early cash in, so now he's going to have to spend a fair amount of time building up his stacks again. And the overall game state for Gen G going to be very dependent on them leveraging their team fighting power, because that's the one edge that I do think they still have. When you look at the 5v5s, right, the wombo combo between Annie and Chovy, you can steal maybe a Carrier ultimate or a Zeus ultimate and a big Gnar.
Whirling Death.
Yeah, there's a lot of power there, but it does also require T1 to kind of walk into it, and T1 have been very good at kind of pulling apart the map. They have a fair amount of members who actually are really hard to kill, right? You have Zeus, a lot of survivability with his W, Aurelia in general, kind of hard to lock down, so a lot of mobility there.
Rod Victor.
We have Rod Victor, and even though in terms of damage, it's not the build that we're most excited about, it is very good for survivability. And then we have Guma also going for the more defensive Varus build, so actually finding a target for Gen G will be somewhat tough. And the Drakes, to me, are going to be the big difference maker as they make their way onto the Rift. As Harold's going to get started up here. Pace is waiting
for an item. Let's see what he buys.
Oh,
no, he just bought a BF sword.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Just looking for that IE as soon as possible. And just going to put him in a good spot. I mean, you know, we talked about that trade with the cash-in, and it was a T1 trade overall, but the damage did get soaked up pretty nicely into Pace's pockets, at least. So there goes the mid-turret already, 16 minutes into the game. And no mid-turret now for Gen G, as both Rift Heralds were taken here by T1 in this game.
And for Zeus in particular, and to a certain extent for Doran as well, having these Hextech gates available is extremely valuable because it allows you to get access to flanks that normally you might not quite be able to. Doran hasn't backed in a while. We see triple backs coming through, and might mean that Gen G is looking to perhaps more aggressively contest that next Drake coming up. Chovy is going to get spotted here. But Carrier doesn't have the backup just now. Owner making his way over, and Chovy should suspect that something's up.
He saw that coming. There was a ward in the enemy jungle as well. Saw Owner just charging in towards him, so... Yeah, Chovy's just going to be hanging on the bottom side, as he does pretty much in any game from Gen G. This is what he does on red side. He's like, okay, I'm just going to go bot lane now, and if you guys need me, just call me. I'll be ready for Drake fights. And I'll just be split pushing. The top laners have not left. 2 top turrets still alive as now. Nautilus ult into Faker. Could be a lot, but Owner is in position. And yeah, just the threat of the Sejuani is going to be enough to push Gen G away.
So I know Owner was there, but even if Owner wasn't there, I don't know if that works.
He's pretty tanky, like we said, you know?
Yeah.
The Rod, Victor, and he's going for Sheriffs next, so he's going to be in a good spot. Like, the Victor can really just get into melee range. Now, we'll have to see that third item if he goes for Lich Bane. And I mean, it is Victor for Faker because he has been doing this recently.
For this next fight, it's really important that Paze actually does finish his item. Because if he doesn't actually get the finish on that, I think they will be lacking the damage that they need to chew through some of the tankier members. On T1, and they don't have that much time, 30 seconds for the next objective. Both top laners do have teleport available. And based on this zoom in, I'm saying that he will have it available for this next fight.
Can he get, well, with the Hextech Rift, probably?
No, he'll be in time. Yeah, it's
Draven, right? He doesn't have upgraded boots. I think he's going to get there like right when it spawns.
It's pure glass cannon. Yeah, no, if Carrier gets even... Carrier or Zeus gets even remotely close, they're in trouble.
I'm just got to be careful. You see Peanuts actually getting in there. Chaos Storm already as Faker. Again, this tanky Victor just runs up to them. Does not scared of anything.
Zeus has flash.
Let's see.
Doran is in mid, trying to get Prio there.
So he would Sedge ultimate, trying to frontline and trying to bait out hooks. He's going to get one. Interesting teleport. Just wants to be on the side of his team.
Doran able to actually charge up his Narbar up on that wave.
Well, now he's going to be in the front line as they're trying to burst him down before Mega. Can they do it? It looks like no, as Owner's going to be in that front line, takes a massive amount of damage alongside. But look at Zeus in the back line and Chovy as well. Who's going to win this backline fight as the Draven is just shelling into the Aurelia? Zeus will be taken out as Guma pushes them away. Chovy also taken down, though. A lot of low health bars on the side of Gen G. As at least they have their jungler, though. Peanut sticking around. It means that T1 can't do this dragon, and Peanut is going to just take the red buff.
And by the end of that, it's a favorable trade for Gen G. They trade 1 member up, so they only give up 2. And 3 members die for T1. And crucially, Pace stays alive throughout all of it. You have the incredibly close attempt at 100 to 0ing Doran here, but he does stay alive in the end. Does go up to Meganar, and as a result is able to tank an incredible amount of damage. And then we again have the value of this Annie getting a 2-man stun early on there, on that fight, kind of locking down the front line and buying Pace the time that he needed to. Faker still able to win the back half, so you have 2 halves of the fight that are kind of won for both teams, but by the end of it, as mentioned, Draven gets a big cash in, and now gold, dead even.
Yeah, and a lot of that is in your Draven, who has Last Whisper now, so yeah, pretty much any target he'll be fine with. As we saw that Gen G, I thought maybe they were going to, edge towards the Baron that has recently spawned and maybe try to threaten that at least, but you can see that this Hextech is just too meaningful as Doran will take a full Chaos Storm to the face. Will run out of his Meganar as well.
And
Zeus is just top lane because he has teleport.
There's a teleport available. Also, no Meganar available for Doran. He's completely zoned out. Faker took care of him, so T1 can contest here. Don't have to.
Okay, it looks like they want to take the fight afterwards. The steal attempt not working as Faker is getting jumped on. He's got a massive shield, but it's not massive enough as Doran going to get hooked by Carrier on the backside of the fight. Definitely a nice big one for the side of T1, but look at this engage for Gen G now. Toby and Peanut in the backline, and Toby's just so tanky as well. Zeus tries to access the backline, but just gets demolished by the Draven, who picks up yet another kill as Gooby UC is gone. Down will go the T1 members, and down should go this Baron for Gen G.
And after Gen G get a fight that is slightly in their favor, the subsequent one, they completely run over T1. A false sense of security knowing that Doran is in the fight, but a beautiful collapse coming through there from the light, and then that re-engage from Peanut.
Is he really going to try to steal this? I mean, this is kind of close, actually, as he's getting into the pit. The Chaos Storm is there as well. The damage, it's there, and it's stolen! You gotta be kidding me! They left the Sejuani in the front door! As now Faker's probably not long for this world. But the Baron is stolen away. A lot of kill golds given over to Gen G at the end of that fight.
As apparently we got an almost 1,500 Draven, or thus far we've had 1,500 gold generated by the Draven passive, which is not this turn from the light, already incredible. And then I want you to pay attention to Peanut, his emote game here.
Top of the morning.
Finds a beautiful re-engage, multi-man stun there as well, W from the light, and that fight subsequently won. And then you're home at night. And Owner just knocks on your front door and just walks in. And he takes your Baron and he leaves.
You can't just get away with this.
He just got... Why was he getting away with this? And the reason is...
Chaos Storm.
Yeah, Faker buying a lot of space for him, and the Sejuani incredibly tanky. A lot of cooldowns are gone for Gen G, so don't have this CC available to actually keep away this Sejuani.
And Faker's damage is the one that gets the Baron low enough for him to smite,
exactly.
Too, so... Without that, you're not getting a smite, you're just dying after walking in the front door.
The game state is still very good for Gen G after all that, because Draven is monstrously fed. We do have Chovy now also getting close to being fully online, and even with the Baron buff there, a lot of members of T1 were not actually able to get it, right? Keria has it, Faker will have it, I don't think Zeus will as well, as, no, I don't think he had the purple buff, so the overall value will mostly be mitigating. So you're not actually going to be able to get a lot out of it. As we can see, a minus 800 Baron power play.
Nice.
You'll still take that when you're T1, because this could have been a game-losing fight, and it's not good, but you're in the game.
It's not a game-winning fight, it's a game-salvaging fight, potentially. And we don't know exactly how this will turn out, but oh boy, Guma just backing in mid as Peanut is trying to assassinate him by himself, and he's gonna get punished as he goes in alone. Look at his reaction on the cam too. He's like, oh no.
Yeah, that was
he's having a great time though, as Peanut.
That was 700 gold over to Guma. He kind of been in a rut in this game. Getting targeted isn't a mobile way to carry, also going for the on-hit build, so needs to play a lot more aggressive, a lot more forward, putting yourself in harm's way. But when Peanut is just like, hey, what? take the shutdown, friend. Yeah, that's dumb. That's low dumbs now done. Oh man, this just give me 3 of these.
Yeah, he's keeping it interesting, you know.
It's important.
And you can see the angle, but they see him coming in, so.
The fact that Owner also, like, Owner and Carry are both waiting for like half a second to make sure that Peanut actually commits. Shield bow is available. There is plated steel caps as well, so Guma deceptively tanky. And now we're going to go into this next fight with the gold again being dead even.
It's a big shutdown. I think that it was interesting timing. There's like no objective really to take as, this is not good timing. Peanut, no Trickster, no way out of this one, no flash. He's even got a Cyclone. Just in desperation, Peanut will get caught out as Zeus is also just gonna die. Not sure how that happened on the backside of this fight.
Everything needs to stay balanced, Veldes.
It really does. I mean, this has happened so many times this game. And now
Doran.
A 30-meter TP. Here we go, looking for the wraparound on Faker, who does have flash, and he is quite tanky. Is he tanky enough, though? As, he's just going to flash. As teleport traded for Flash, as meanwhile Guma is alone pushing mid.
They should still be able to get the Drake. I love the audacity of T1. So he's like, no, we're starting at Drake. This is ours. We're taking it. Do need to get out now, though.
Oh, they're both going to get ever frosted here. As nice buff for Owner might not be as lucky, but maybe able to turn this one around. Delight in a lot of trouble. He's going to go down. Look at what happened to the Draven. He just ran straight into the Victor damage. As down will go Pace as well. And now Doran is just on the run. This game is a wild goose chase over and over again. As Doran will be able to get out. And so will Chovy somehow. But that is going to be Drake and kills to the side of T1.
I stand corrected. It was actually T1's Dragon. I'm sorry, T1. I didn't know. My apologies. That is it's the Varus flank, of course.
Of course.
We didn't think about the Varus flank, Velda.
I knew it was coming. I didn't want to spoil it.
No, I think everyone was caught by surprise on that one. So Peanut dies here. Very, very not good. Gets blown up. Nice flash, it's a teleport, there you go. So, a over-enthusiastic teleport from Zeus leads to him immediately dying.
Don't TP into this team.
And this is where you're like, okay, things are looking up. But with that blast cone, they crucially just don't spot Guma. So they don't know that he's right there to join the fight. And Hayes looking for a cash in. Also can't go back because then he walks into Nautilus and then I think Doran or at least Chovy got out. I don't know if Doran got out. Replay doesn't run that long.
He did, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So now we are still even.
Oh yeah, or balanced like all things should be. Oh, okay, Chovy is going to get spotted first. So Zeus just going to play here, but now T1 looking for their comfort Baron zone. As Chovy versus Zeus, probably Chovy wins this.
Ooh, well, right now, yes.
Based on his current state in the game.
Yeah, once the Wits End is finished, I do think Zeus is going to have a much better time, is building towards that. Chovy also has a stopwatch. And with how these fights have been going, I wanna play a game. Normally we only play in challenges. Who's gonna win this game, Valdez? Because
I don't know. This is hard.
I don't know. We've seen that both teams are able to win team fights. When it comes to straight up 5v5s with no backline access, with everyone's position being known.
Well, Zeus might answer the question for us as he's going in onto Chovy. Is it going to be enough damage? Yes, it should be. Chovy is still on the run, and he will be able to get out. Flash expended for Zeus.
Zeus doesn't have vision. Chovy also crucially missing his stolen ultimate there, so it's not even remotely close. Now Genji has a really aggressive position here.
Faker is just running into them, did not have vision to this. He's got a massive
Timbers TP!
Timbers is going to be very useful, and now Guma's in a lot of trouble as well. The gank brush works out for Genji, and they will be taking down this Baron. As Peanut.
The game it's just chaos.
Oh, Owner's still here. But yeah, he's just going to dash away. Just try to survive as Nautilus returns to the Rift. And he should be going down eventually. You'd have to imagine Genji, a massive step forward now in this game. Not looking as balanced as it once was.
That might have been the breaking point of this game. Valdez, is Peanut going to die?
Okay, the lights here. We got GP here. Zeus is just going in on this one. As Peanut with a excellent bait in this case. He's got stopwatch as well. That is another kill for the Draven, who has 9 on the game.
1,954 gold generated.
That's pretty good.
And this is such an elaborate bait because if you're figuring, like, oh my god, why is Draven there? And then the light comes from downtown, finds the hard engage. Victor, even with this build, immediately gonna go down. And this game is, he's just he's actually just taunting him.
Yeah, he's like, please follow me down the river. And of course the game does not end there. The fighting, rather, as Faker 1v2, Cyclone and Tons of damage coming in from the stolen Chaos Storm. Faker is incredibly tanky. I keep saying that, but he keeps dying, so it's probably not true. Not compared to the damage that Gen G have. At least in this game, we have 36 kills so far, 31 minutes. This is the action that you should expect from the LCK guys.
Oh, after that first series where T1 slapped Gen G 2-0, I was worried that we would be deprived of this type of gameplay Veldas, but fortunately, not the case. Gen G now, we also, okay, yeah, of course.
We have surpassed now. Well,
we're still even. But
okay, so we're tied. We're tied.
I think we will surpass. Save that on this one.
Yeah. I think we'll get past the most kills, by the way, in any game in spring. For you guys who are wondering. We're going to watch this again. Faker went for this tanky build, and it means that he gets to get like a couple more abilities off, but especially in situations like this, like, it just doesn't really matter. He just dies anyway.
Yeah, there is no reinforcements coming either. Well, there is, but it's for Gen G. So not a lot of options there.
But not for you.
Not for him, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And what a turnaround here from the Gen G bot lane in particular, because the first series was really a story about how Haze and Delight were completely unable to stand up. Was it either to Guma and Carrier? Was it to Faker? Didn't really matter, but neither of them stacked up, and now we have a monstrously fed Draven, and I might still be inclined to vote for Delight nonetheless, because his Annie has been incredible, finding key turns repeatedly, right? Setting up the traps, and Delight is such a good hard engaged player. We know this already. That was what he excelled on. When he was playing on Brion, it was of course his Rakan that was more notable, but there were plenty of other champions that he had really good games on, and Annie's just, it's great. It's both an Enchanter and a hard engaged champion.
Yeah.
Just do it all.
Wow. And yeah, I was going to say, like, T1 are almost definitely banning Annie in game 2. I don't think that, you'll probably leave the Jace up, you know. I think that's fine. Or maybe don't ban Karma and play out like a kind of different bottom lane scenario, but I think that's...
Yeah, the Karma would be my guess as well.
The Annie's just too much of an issue in this game.
T1 still have a level 18 Victor, but in straight up 5v5 it's so tough, and Gen G's not really giving them the skirmishes that they're looking for unless they are a man up.
Yeah, and a lot of the little skirmishes have just been straight up won by Gen G.
Yep.
Like, say what you want about Peanut, but he's done a fantastic job of like really finding the unique angles that we have seen in this game to, you know, kind of push the lead even farther forward for his team. Gen G are going to push in here pretty early on. In this 3 minutes until the next Hextech Drake, which is going to be a huge one, but they're already taking control over the entire bottom jungle.
We haven't even talked about this Doran build yet. It's the epitome of Doran on this Gen G roster. It's like, Doran, you have one job. Don't die. You get the blind pick, you get counter picked. He did get resources this game. Peanut actually did visit him a decent amount of times, but that's not always the case. And now he's going Triforce into full tank Gnar, just to make sure that the rest of his team can play the game. Deathcap now finished for Faker. That is huge. And one mispositioned fight, you know, Pace dying immediately, Chovy getting zoned out early on, can still be a game-deciding mistake from Gen G, but with the amount of map control that they have, should be able to, at the very least, be setting themselves up for a really nice Baron here.
Absolutely. Like, Gen G's composition, they still have this range issue, I suppose you could call it, but they have so many ways to close the gap, and when you have that vision advantage, and when you do have this big of a gold lead, you can just kind of press your buttons and get into range forcefully, right? You can engage and make T1 fight you on your turf, so I think they should be totally fine with that, as we do have Magi's purchased here for Chovy, and I suppose he had 10 stacks on the Dark Seal. I actually didn't see.
He did. Yeah, we also have a bunch of
might as well, right?
Already activated. Both teams know. Probably going to be the game-deciding fighter. Peanut already on the flank.
We have 3 GAs as well. Peanut's got one, so There's that. There's also stopwatch as trying to throw that into owner, but that was a Silas.
It's okay. Look at that. Look at that hijack cooldown.
Yeah, he'll be back very soon.
Yeah, he's not too bothered by this.
We're fighting over the Baron positioning, essentially at this time. Either team, if you get in range and you give them like 15 seconds, they can take down the Baron. So it's definitely kind of walking a tightrope around this objective.
So if the Drake spawning so soon, Gen G will be able to force T1 to make an awkward decision. You want to give over Hextech Soul, or do you want to go for the Baron? Right now though, T1 is still in control of this area, are being respected. The Gen G, perhaps through that pry on top side, can also just look to get themselves an inner and then rotate from there. You have full vision of the Baron pit.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, as long as they don't get caught off guard, Gen G, they're like, okay, if you want to engage on us in the top lane, be our guest. FaZe is a fountain laser at this point. He doesn't quite have the range of the laser, but if he gets in range of you, he will blast you down real quick. So,
or Scuttle.
What Scuttle?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's gone. And Gen G, I mean, we're at a point in the game now, 37 minutes in, where I'm not sure if you want to give away a free Baron, though. Obviously, Hextech Soul is gigantic. Like, it is just insanely massive, right? But it seems like they don't want to give this away. And like I said, you give them 15 seconds, this Baron is going to go down, as it should be taken here by T1. Yes, it will. And the front line of Gen G is being ripped to shreds, as Dorn is going to miss his Meganar, as we do have FaZe in the back line just shelling axe after axe into this front line, and it should be enough damage. After all, even through all of the GAs, is a massive flawless duet does come in. Faker is alone up here in the jungle somehow, as he should be taken out eventually, as even the boomerang to slow him down. Chovy will take him, and Zeus is the only one left. He's trying to stop this mid-wave, but it doesn't matter. They're just going to push in top.
Not going to be enough. Chovy picks up more kills, and this game number one, Valdez, gonna go to Gen G. Took a little bit of time to get going, but once they started team fighting, they didn't stop.
They did not stop, and that is going to do it. The Nexus turrets will fall, and so will the aforementioned Nexus. GG! Gen G storm off the stage, as they have a lot to talk about, of course, before getting into the next one. As my vote is for Annie, but FaZe had a game that is... this is just another example of FaZe, who is like, I am a new man. Like, I am not nervous anymore. I will stand up to the best players, even when my team is not. Like, FaZe, you remember his last game on Lucian, where his team was just falling over themselves against KT. He's like, well, I'll try to do it by myself. This time he had a team behind him, and he was able to carry insanely well. So I'm sure FaZe and Delight will both get tons and tons of votes, but Gen G absolutely deserved this first one.
And one of the other big deciding factors to me in this game was kind of the giddiness that we saw Gen G play with. Peanut literally gave over a 700 gold shutdown, and I was like, hey, who cares?
Emoting as he jumps into the fight. He's having a good time. Chovy the most damage in the game, even though the Draven was what he was.
Well, the interesting thing was Chovy still had an incredibly low amount of deaths in this game, so even though the big moments came from, I think, Delight and FaZe, when it came to actually shelling out consistent DPS over the course of a fight, we did see that Chovy was able to be alive at the end of most of those, and this gold graph hopefully is a precursor for what is to come in this series here.
Yeah.
Or Gen G versus T1.
I'd enjoy that a lot. How about some more games like that? We'd really hope for 3 games, but we'll see. Gen G outplay them in game 1. Maybe they just make it 2-0. We'll have to find out, guys. But first, a break, and then the space.
죽었어 한번 빨리지 마 현준아.
알았어. 아 괜찮아. 502 한번 줄게.
쌈각 좋아.
앞라인
바로 풀 있어.
2일 초.
야 노틸로 야 바르스 봐줘. 바르스 풀 있어.
이래.
야 이거 빅코로 넘어갔어.
이래 놓고.
이래 갈게.
저기 사람.
이래 가자. 끝까지 가자.
나 2, 3초. 이래 놓고.
계속 가자.
계속 가자. 다음 탑으로 갈게요.
끝났다 이거.
탑에
끝난 듯.
이래 지금
이래 무시하자. 이래 무시하고 그냥 가면 돼.
팀 5강에 막아라. 스택 있어. 무시해도 돼. 나이스. 야, 애니 지렸는데 이거. 너무 잘해. 나이스.
아이고 누야.
기가 막혔다 진짜.
바로
나이스요.
진짜 마음이 아프다.
이거
나이스요.
진짜 멋있다.
그래 하루 종일 있어.
나이스.
나이스요.
하나 둘 셋.
얍.
하나 둘 셋. 야. 마이크 체크. 카시 공 쓸게.
나 눈이 안 보이는데 근데.
맞공 쓰는데.
징스 아지라죠? 야 아지를 뽑으니까 난리 났다.
그러게.
얘들아 화이팅하고 와.
화이팅. 재밌게 하자 얘들아.
여기서 이렇게 앞점프하면서 들겨봐.
그래도 돼.
각 봐도 돼. 프리스 오고.
나불 빠졌고.
이게 잡아?
빼.
얘네가 살짝 쳤다 일단. 야 우리 여기 애들 와줘.
봐줘.
나 이거 한번 박을 수 있다. 얘.
뒤에 봐줄게 하나 봐.
야 나를 점프 봤어. 나를. 나가. 나를.
나봐줘. 물로 봐줘.
데이스.
여기 볼게. 아지를 들어오는 거 조심. 맞아. 맞아.
50 높을.
나이스. 밑에 달려. 야 이거 각 좋은데.
가자.
갈게. 제이스.
쌀.
야 빨리지 말고. 세주도 높을. 빨리지 마.
빨리.
제이스 높을이야. 나 괜찮아. 좋았어.
나 이제 받을 수 있어.
이거 선 되냐 우리?
이거 줘야 돼.
주다.
이거야.
나이스. 5번 얘들아. 이거 터뜨려야 돼 알아봐.
이거 봐줄래? 에 떴어.
오케이. 푸른.
프리스.
나 이거 볼게. 가자.
루시아. 여기 쌀.
또한에 빼기만. 여기 살짝 봐줘.
웬만하면 갈 듯? 가네. 좀 보자.
아래 봐줄게.
야 사인 좋냐? 사인 좋냐 없고 이제 천천히 봐. 제이스 보자.
제이스부터.
룰루 높을. 나이스. 제리 높을.
제리 너무.
천천히 온다. 오케이 빼. 와 바로 치고 싶긴 한데.
야 바텀
치자. 먹었어.
나이스. 다행이다. 너무 잘했다 다들.
나 쌍각 좋고. 나 볼게.
앞에 땅에 보자. 보자. 좋아. 타워.
야
앞에부터.
야 루시아 카이.
맞아.
오케이. 야 메가드는 줘. 앞에 거. 루시아.
천천히. 릴렉스. 마무리할게. 나이스.
나이스.
정글 할 거 뭐 있어?
바이.
녹턴
이달리 같은 것도 좋나?
한 번 하던지.
일단 해볼게요.
오달리 가자. 오달리.
이 정도였어?
인기 진짜 많다 너.
야 너무 부담 갖지 마.
다음가 편하게. 나이스.
스타 경각 나오나? 살짝 볼만할 듯. 내 집이 없어. 먹었다 이거.
나이스.
라인 밀어줘. 지렸다 싸유.
밀어볼래?
지렸다.
뒤에 쌈 먹자.
이거 방다 해. 천천히 와줘.
더블리만 내가지고.
잠깐만.
이게 저? 곤란하네.
지렸고.
나이스.
나 몰려 간다. 나 살짝 봐줄 수 있나?
못 봐줘.
못 봐주긴 하거든?
저거 안 죽어. 바텀 내자.
죽어. 오래 버티긴 한다 이거.
못 빠졌노?
오래 안 빠졌는데? 끝을 줄이고. 월클이네.
나 너무 흥분했다 지금.
나 딜량 좀 올릴게.
쌀 쳐지겠어 했는데.
나도 DPM 올릴게. 야, 어시 들어가. 야, 타워 좀 타워.
제발.
야
아이고. 지지.
나이스. 싸이면 근데 시체 된 다음에 깨는 게 더 빠르잖아.
근데 안 죽어.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the space after that extraordinary banger of a first game between T1 and Gen.G. I had to bring two gentlemen to break it down for me. This was absolutely incredible. Some mishap, perhaps, to start things off in the draft. Outside of that, though, banger of a game.
So the missing ban here, I think, is because you could see it on the face of the players. They wanted to lock something in here, but they couldn't decide fast enough. I think T1 made a big mistake here in that they wanted Gen.G to actually play the Gnar, and they were communicating like, all right, can we actually punish this with an Aurelia, with the Camille? Let's play around top side here in this draft because we're playing into probably a losing side with this Varus. The draft has changed its identity massively, and they can't actually come up with a solution quickly enough to make sure it's going to be a good ban here, so they just drop the ban, let the Gnar go through, and then try to punish it. And in the early game, they certainly did, but they couldn't hold the lead.
Yeah, I mean, from the T1, I think more so, I think they should have cared more about the AD ban, which is like, I think I don't think they expected actually Gnar. They picked the Gnar at the 4th, and then they did it, and sure, that's that's a small mistake from the Gen.G. Like, they didn't have to, it's unnecessary that they didn't have to pick it, because if T1 picked Gnar, they had a Sylas, which is like, that's one of the great ulti. So I think it's more so they should have cared about the Draven. Any combo has been forever there, and the Draven is just like be able to match the prio against the Gen.G Botio, the T1 Botio.
Yeah, they picked the Varus early, right? This is our first pick Varus draft. And then when the Annie came through, it seemed like they were like, oh, this is a flex pick potentially. Let's put Faker on the Victor so we can lane against this just in case. And I think that's where the draft started to fall apart a little bit. You could see after that missed ban, they picked the Nihilus as well, and they're kind of like, this is not going to be the prio lane I think they were looking for with the bans and the Varus pick. And then this Varus on hit did very little this game, even being like 6-3 towards the end there. Guma just doesn't have the power into all the CC that's available there and all the engage.
Yeah, and I've been a little bit of an on-hit Varus anti in my time, but honestly, I don't think a lot of that mattered in the early stages of the game, because it was just catastrophe after catastrophe. Remember, earliest first blood ever, and then into this fight here.
This is a fight around the Drake, where you see Faker gets collapsed on here, and Delight had so many great plays in these neutral fights where he's setting up for CC and peeling for his team while also setting up picks onto Faker many times, and then the re-engage here from Peanut was amazing. For me, Peanut's performance, minus some of the mid-game errors from him, was insane this game. His engages were great. His shadowing of both Doran and the bottom lane was really clean.
Yeah, I agree. I think T1 make like the Faker specifically, I think they had a really bad positioning from the start of the fight. And then those kind of the type of the champion that Victor, you needed to, no matter what, front to back. And if that happened, you can't fight after, especially you lose the mid laner. Yeah, it's really difficult, especially when there's something like a Wukong that has almost free backline access almost all the time. The Cyclone got so much value there as well, but the game was utter chaos. It felt like at the very beginning that we were saying, like, pack it in, boys, right? Like, after the first kill goes over and Doran falls down, like,
it's over.
In lane, it was over. It felt like it was just straight up over, but it wasn't. And let's go into our next highlight here, because this was... it was a catastrophe for T1, but Gen.G were playing out these late game team fights so well.
Gen.G kind of spading this, right? Doran clears the vision, he is nearby, and T1 are kind of grouping around trying to make sure they can find this Gnar, but they don't know that the rest of Gen.G is actually hiding over the wall here. Doran avoids vision here, and then Faker overextends onto Pace. He's like, why is there a Draven here? Like, what's going on? And then he just gets collapsed on instantly. He's caught in a trap, and then the follow-up here from Peanut to prevent any of the rest of T1 from getting in here and doing anything is great. Instantly, the Varus is deleted, does very little here, and it's just kind of an awkward moment for Gen.G right now, or for T1, excuse me, where they lose Baron and lose control of the map right afterwards.
Yeah, I think Gen.G played really, really well around the vision, and they had a prio from a few fight, like as what we see from the highlight one. There's a war fight that they actually fight really, really well, and then they got some prio like from the side lane and the mid lane especially, and then they used like vision really well, that they just abused the visions that they actually needed to flank with those kind of champ, like example for Annie, like Gnar, those kind of champ, and then I think they play really well as well. Yeah, no, I agree. Let's have a look who picks up the player of the game for this one, as of course, yeah, it was a game setting a whole bunch of records, and it was thanks to this man right here, Chovy, going to pick it up, not robbed in this particular game. Delight, we feel, might have been a little bit robbed. A lot of his bear placement, absolutely fantastic, but this guy stacked the Magi's up to 25. Like, you got to give it to him.
pretty much anyone except Doran, I think, and no offense to Doran, he had some good moments too and actually baited a lot of these cool fights. I think anyone could have gotten it on this Gen G squad. Like, Peanut had fantastic engages and punishes. We saw Chovy really turn the game around, playing constantly aggressively, but also Pays. His positioning on this AD carry, super sick. And I wanted to vote for Peanut, and Hoon and I talked about it a lot, and Hooney was like, well, I mean, he did make a lot of mistakes. I want to give it to Delight, and Delight has some great turns and engages here too, so we ultimately went for the support vote.
Yeah, I mean, it's more so like the main reason why I chose the Delight, because like he make the fight, and then those two highlight was like really big turn for the team that they needed to actually fight off that someone has to start it. But I definitely agree with the Chovy too, because he had no mistake at all.
3 Delight votes. Look at this. Look at this perfect.
Look at that CN cast as well. They're normally notorious AD carry voters, not this time around. Teddy on form today for the Chinese broadcast. But guys, do you know what I want? I just want more games like that. Let's hope that we can get to 3 of them, and in order to do that, let's throw it back to the casters to bring us there.
Thank you, Spacers, once again for that awesome breakdown. And I believe we are going to get at least one more game. If you like First Blood at 41 seconds, and if you like the most kills so far in spring, you've come to the right place. Chovy picks it up, not robbed this time, but still, definitely a very nice split. As, Faker decides, okay, I'm going to need to reboot again. Going into game number 2. And T1, they've got a chance for sure, but Gen G have come into round 2 looking like a different beast.
Really have, and the biggest gap that we had in the previous game, which was that both sides not relevant this time around. Regardless of what drafts we end up with, I don't expect to see a total collapse like we saw in the previous game, where Pays and Delight were categorically unable to match anything that T1 was throwing at them. And that should mean that even if T1 gets a win, which wouldn't surprise me with some adjustments in the draft and maybe getting out all the bans this time around, still should be a highly competitive game number 2 here.
Well, they didn't change the Karma ban, so they seem pretty fine with that. We'll see if they do actually ban Annie here instead of Jace. Yes, they will. So it turns out the Valdanilus is correct this time around.
We'll have the Annie ban, and I don't know what you're talking about. Whenever the Valdanilus makes an appearance, he's always right.
That's true, yeah.
He just chooses his
It's not very
moments.
common, yeah. You just gotta wait and listen. Vara's still first picked. So T1 say, okay, Annie was the issue.
Wouldn't surprise me if we, at the very least, see the early priority on the Wukong here again. It is one of the favorite champions. Now, is Jace going to be the pick away here? Because that is a flex pick. Can go multiple ways. Not going to be the case. It's going to be the early Zeri pickup here, and Zeri has struggled pretty immensely into Varus as a very different direction here for Gen G if they do end up going for the Elise here. That would also be a big switch up for Gen G, because Peanut has not been prioritizing this champion at all.
2 games alone, only.
Yeah.
And so Owner says, you know what? Now you gave me a chance to not play Sejuani. I'll play Elise instead. And there's the Jace. That definitely shows a huge amount of confidence from these T1 players.
And Zeus had an incredible game in his laning phase, and even some of the skirmishes outside of that, and his 1v1 pressure, but the actual team fights were both not very well executed from him. There's also an incredible amount of CC between the Annie and the Wukong on the enemy team, and he wasn't really able to find a way to dodge that. His Jace, one of his comfort picks. Wonder if we'll still be seeing the Gore Drinker Jace that we've been seeing more and more of. Zeri, Lulu, Sejuani for Gen G, no surprises there at all. Not the most interesting turn of events when it comes to the draft, but not too surprising either. And support bans would make some sense here. Perhaps you do want to get rid of, say, a Nautilus, Soraka going to be the case instead. I'm going to give T1 that one here.
Yeah, it's a way to, you know, take trades, heal through the poke damage that Lulu can have, and Zeri as well.
You scale obscenely well.
Yeah.
Also helps.
It's not a bad idea. Akali taken away. Will they just ban Sylas as well if they want to get Chovy off of comfort? I mean, he did just get POG on a Sylas again. Don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's probably a large number of POGs that have been giving to Chovy's Sylas.
Do have the 0 now bend away. So Gen G, it's gonna be, might be R4 Renekton instead of R4 Gnar here. There is no way that Doran is getting counterpicked. That's just not how this team works.
No, I think, well,
unless
there have been a decent amount of mid lane picks that have been banned, but there are still answers to the Victor.
Mirror matchup, perhaps?
Victor v Victor?
No, Victor versus Sylas. Because they're mirrored from game 1, Valdez. We can't have Victor versus Victor.
I'm an old StarCraft
How long have
caster,
you been around?
You know, I'm from the days of Blind Pick and also StarCraft, TVT, stuff like that. Kassadin, Faker, you know, shakes his arm a little bit. That will be the choice. And Saya.
Carrier.
Callista. Twitch?
What's brewing? Not Twitch. I think we've tried Twitch and it's not a success.
Callista support for Carrier. And Renekton.
Yeah, now with the confirmation that it will indeed be Jay's top, Renekton. I assume Renekton with the Crawler's Claw build coming out here, and yeah, it's Claw in Dutch, so that one is
Claw.
That one is dangerously close.
Crawler's Clown.
Claw. No, just Claw. Yeah. Only one letter, well, 2 letters, I guess. Off as the composition for T1 here, able to get the counter pick on mid, able to get again Carrier's Callista, but I am somewhat worried if Owner isn't able to play towards his bot side aggressively early, and they're not going to have mid prio.
He will.
Well, I assume he will, but Chovy should be free to roam towards bot as well. So that, to me, the Elise and Kassadin combo I really don't like. I would much rather see a mid laner that can either roam with the Elise or try and at least have priority. That is not going to be the case, but we have seen that the snowballing coming out from the Elise is still extremely lethal, and when you pair it with Callista and Varus, becomes even more absurdly so.
Yeah, it's very true, and whoa, that's a cool tiger. This is the tiger that catches T1. That's what it says, essentially. This is his first time coming to LoL Park. If you haven't been to LoL Park, definitely a very fun. After playing League for 12 years, so a little bit of extra context added by G-Sun, thank you. First time, 12 years for him. It's been a long time with this game, and we're getting into game number 2 as well. As both of these teams have put on an amazing performance in game number 1, we can only hope that we get something similar in the second one. Here we go, game number 2. This time, Owner on something aggressive, Faker on something that scales, and Guma he should be fine.
He'll be okay. Looking at the runes, Faker going for the Unsealed Spellbook here, Owner also going for Electrocute, so no big surprises there. And the T1 composition does not have anything that even remotely resembles frontline. They have a bot lane that is basically required to snowball, as Chovy is very clearly saying that you Kassadin, I might not be able to kill you, but you're also not going to be even a remote threat to me. Chovy, Merc threats extremely high value, means that you basically are almost impossible to kill for Kassadin and Elise, so could even see that as a first back here, because starting call is a clear sign of, I don't want to call it lack of respect, because of course Faker's Kassadin we have already seen is extremely lethal, but in terms of laning pressure, yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Okay. Just getting on opposite sides here. Chovy will take kind of a unfortunate trade, but at the end of the day, it's Kassadin level 1, so you're pretty fine to take these trades any day of the week. And in fact, he'll go for more. As Faker, you mentioned his lethal Kassadin. He is 3-0 on the pick. That's not lost yet. Will this be his first one, or will the undefeated streak continue for the season?
Also saw the Fleet footwork come through there. Mainly, Fleet really nice in giving you a little bit of extra movement speed, allowing you to get more autos in, but also to sustain. And even though it has been nerfed repeatedly, still going to be a nice little boon. And we did see the win rates for T1 on all these champions. Faker's just there dings too, which is good because it's getting in somewhat dangerous territory. And it still has cookies, still has potions, still has a Doran shield. There's all this ward. A false sense of security here for Chovy.
It's a cheeky one, and guess what? He's not even going to mid. He's like, yeah, Kassadin, whatever. I'm going to bot lane because that is where my bread is buttered. And
level 2.
He's right at this point in the game, as Peanut is looking to dive mid. So we're going to get the mega zoom out here from Jonah Strong. Faker in a lot of trouble. He did hit level 3. He's trying to trade this one back, even flashing to try to trade it. It's not going to work. His first blood will be given over to, not Chovy, it will go to Peanut.
And might be able to look for it level 3 now for Carry and Guma.
Here comes the TP though, and the cocoon will land, but it's immediately cleansed by Pace, as it's Chovy who actually TP'd into this one. And that's going to save them a bot dive.
Downside for Chovy is he hadn't been able to back yet, so now still needs to back. Can't just walk from bot lane towards his mid lane, so we'll give Faker a little bit of time in this matchup. But Peanut able to find an early play, whereas his opponent not able to do so. And yeah, unfortunate reality is you're casting early on. Even with level 3, there's too much damage, even through the magic shield. Peanut and Chovy both having to flash, but very happy to take that trade. Chovy then, or not Chovy, just Peanut rather. Chovy then also immediately making his way towards the bot side of the map and covering for the possible Elise dive. And as mentioned, even with a Kassadin, I do want to see some snowballing. This might be the first opportunity here.
Okay, Chovy has boots though, so we'll see if this does much of anything. Yes, the cocoon will land. And it's more of just like a helper gank rather than actually going for a kill, as Peanut is going to be spotted by little ghost fella. And yeah, he'll just come down, clear out some wardage. And back away. Pays pretty low though as the flash comes in. Carria is looking for it. He wants the kill, but that is not actually going to work out for him.
Might be enough to zone Pace off of this wave though. We do have Peanut here as well. Oh, he really wants to at the very least get the experience here, but looks like it's not going to be the case.
Oh, they're trying to dive on a delight here as Owner will go up. And this is a massive pierce! Goes through the two of them. T1 will force the dive by any means necessary. As now even Faker's here. Faker's level 5. Not even level 6.
No, Peanut's gone.
Can't even jump. Owner's, yeah. Okay, that's going to be the end of him. Carria picks up that kill, and that is 3 on the board now for T1.
Early game masterclass. After that mid lane dive and a not so successful bot lane gank. Some worries perhaps in the hearts of T1 fans, but then on the re-entry we get a double kill for Guma. We get a kill for Carria as well. And Pace already getting taken solo because of Carria's aggressive trade. And then here, oh, this arrow. Oh, the flash. Oh, can't go for that one. And even if Pace had survived, it wouldn't have really changed that much out of the outcome. Would have been a little bit less gold for T1, but this play still would have been a resounding success. No Pace able to catch the wave. Immediately get a kill on Peanut as well. And T1, that's the snowball you need. And that's the snowball they get double serrated Dirk now for their bot lane. And love a little bit of balance after what have been very eventful mid and bottom lanes. We have top lane just being there. They're part of the rift technically.
Yeah, very different from game 1 where it was, you know, potential to really get imbalanced and to get Zeus really out of control, and he kind of did, but he didn't really use the lead as well as he could have.
Oh, we also have 2 of our not as beloved Drakes already out of the way with Chemtech and Ocean.
It's just going to be Hextech
Rift.
again.
I love Hextech. Hextech is my favorite favorite Rift.
I like it because we fight a lot.
Yeah, well, Mountain,
That's why I like
Mountain and Infernal should do this. Although I have noticed that teams are generally a little bit more happy to give up Mountain specifically.
Yeah.
Mountain is, I think, feels a bit more passive, even though I still think it's an incredibly strong Drake. And now Faker also has it level 6, so not going to be too bothered anymore by the threats of ganks. And 2k gold lead early on Air 41. Something that I think they need, but something that they have been able to secure very well for themselves. As why not just dive again? You still have a 1400 gold lead almost on Guma, and Carry also monstrously fed.
Carry is using Flash to get small advantages in the lane, so might as well, right? We're getting in there once again. This dive not nearly as clean as the last one. They see Peanut and they're like, well, let's take it slowly, but here's the follow-up. They reset the aggro. They're going in onto Delight, and they will be able to burst him down. The aggro, though, is onto Faker, but they can't take him down. It's another 3 kills into the pockets of T1 in bot lane.
Sheepish grain on Peanut's face. What do?
Die?
When your opponent picks Kalista support and makes it look bonkers broken.
Maybe it is.
Well, Don't tell solo queue that well. That's not a that's not the change that we want to see in the world. But we are gaining some primo insight as to why the Elise has been basically permanently banned. Because look at how calmly they play this as well, right? Like Owner takes the aggro on the initial one, completely fine, get some cooldowns out of the way, and then go for the re-engage. So much damage available here with those double serrated Dirks, and nothing that you can do here as Gen G. Too far behind on levels, no cooldowns available, and now you have a bot lane that is completely unsalvageable. And game 1 was very competitive, very fun, very back and forth. I am worried that this game will not have any of that.
Oh, they're actually trying to go in on this one. A bit of a 3v3, but here comes Karya trying to frontline for this one. A big shock blast into that back line, and it looks like Genji not going to chase any further into the jungle. So not only that, but actually they're looking for a bit more on the Peanut, who will have to flash away from this one. Faker still on the chase. Little bit of a ring around the rosy here. And a dabbing penguin, of course, from Peanut.
Always having a good time is Peanut. Pays, yeah, with Ghostblade and Swifties.
They're not catching that guy.
So, well, even if you do, I'm not even sure that you win, even with level 6 available. Now, Delight is there, and that really equalizes a lot. But yeah, I think Guma can afford to walk up this far. Carrion also there, so Fate's Call always going to be available. But this is the dream for Lethality Varus. Getting this fat means that every single play that you do generally is just going to work out expertly.
Okay, he's fine.
Is he?
I'm just scared.
He's alive.
I just watch Karya play this and I just get terrified. It's just really scary.
It really is.
That's it.
And after what we're seeing thus far, maybe 13.4 will finally put an end to it, Valdez.
Well,
maybe.
Peanut says maybe top lane.
Maybe?
No, never mind. He knows there's a ward there. He's actually going to put down one Faker. Uh-oh, he is going to have to flash here. This Faker certainly loves pushing to get as much value out of his lane as possible.
Oh, early Umbral Glaive now done for Karya. Peanut deciding the better of it. Zeus, his wave state is very, very sad. This is a sad Jace. Is going Gore Drinker again, as we have already talked about. Benefit of Gore Drinker into some of the melee matchups, like Renekton, can get a lot of value there. The extra health is nice with the resistances that you can hammer form. And Omnivamp, which is something that Jace really appreciates, has of course been taken off of Eclipse, making many an AD caster very sad. But Jace's pivot has been relatively successful thus far. As it turns out, when you have a fat bot lane, Drakes are free. So T1 just gonna snatch that one up.
Unfortunately for Chovy, he has not been able to finish his Mythic at 11 minutes, even with the completed cull. So he's just going to walk back to lane with about 7 pieces of gear in his inventory. We do have Cloud Rift this time, so not going to be that Hex Tech that we were calling for, unfortunately, as now Pays, he's just trying to play the game. Like he's just trying to farm some minions. He's not allowed to, though. Not safely.
Very, very sad state of affairs for Gen G. After such a beautiful game of back and forth, not the cleanest game necessarily, but a fun game.
We're trying to trade here with Keria versus Delight as the supports, as Keria continuing to press the issue.
Guardian going to keep them safe for now, but Owner on his way as well.
Owner, all he's got to do is just get in Peanut's face, essentially. And just try not to die.
Now, Peanut has orchestrated comebacks from insurmountable deficits before, as Atlas can testify.
Guma, what are you doing? He's pretty strong. And he's got some help here as Keria is going to throw in the Fate's Call as well. Force a flash away from Jovi. It's a really long cooldown, but like, it's on an 80 carry, so I mean, it's probably better than Jovi's flash. Or, I mean, Jovi's flash is probably better than that, right?
Well, that's the thing. It's so sad because Jovi plays that about as perfectly as you can in terms of like sidesteps the ultimate, then able to dodge, places a nice gravity field, and he still has to flash because Keria has support Kalista and just throws Kuma Yushi over. And the game state is pretty important for Gen G, but the one thing that they can look forward to is that if T1 make any major mistakes with closing out this game, I do think that even with having a Kassadin, their team comp can kind of fall apart. Because you have so many squishy members, as that's a free K ulti. So I'm just setting the stakes in case it in case it does happen. Okay, I don't expect it to happen. I want to be very upfront about that. I don't think that Gen G is going to be able to dig themselves out of the hole that T1 have forcefully put them in. But if they do, or if they find a way, they do have the tools. They have Zeri, they have Victor, both scaling incredibly well. They have a really reliable front line with Sejuani and the Renekton, and you have Lulu to back it all up. But actually contesting any objective isn't really happening, and I also don't know how you're going to keep Pace safe as he tries to catch a wave, maybe one time. Please?
One time for the boys. It's like, please, I beg of you. Can you please let me farm? Baker's coming in here as, Owner comes down from the rappel. That's a free kill over to Gen G. As now the chase is on, though. T1 very far ahead. They will try to force this one. Peanut in a bit of trouble. He's going to get wild growthed up, though. As, look at the damage from Jovi now. He's got the Ludens completed. He's trying to get on top of Gumu, who has to flash, and Pace is giving the shutdown. And all of a sudden, we might have ourselves a game. I mean, it's just the one couple of kills, but it's still a nice step forward.
This is how it starts. This in and of itself, not nearly enough. Still, great game state for T1. No reason to worry. Giving over shutdowns, definitely suboptimal. Do not want to do that. Pace also able to pick up a kill. Very big.
Surely they don't lose from here, Chronicler. Jovi's like, I'm just gonna take this into my own hands, right? Because he's the one who sets up the play. He's the one who sets up this teleport as well. Zayas will actually flash as all of the T1 fans are like, yes! And then he dies to the laser. Owner coming on over, he's like, well, I might as well take this one. But man, the way this all starts is just, the aggression actually gets punished.
And this is a 4 versus 4, but so much damage goes down onto Elise, and crucially, unlike previous plays, there is nowhere to repel to. So Owner is just kind of stuck there in the middle of the pit, and then Chovy is, man, his Victor is making me a Victor believer, which I didn't think was really going to be a thing. Pace
not your identity.
No, and Pace gets an insane shutdown, right? Like, of all the people to go for it to go to,
탄다? 탔어.
might be one of the worst ones, except Chovy. Chovy
teleporting.
어딜까?
Where is he? Look at his spacing too. He backs away so that Zayas can get on him. But he's obviously still in range, and then
풀까지 빼고 죽였어.
I got him. And we even got his flash. So yeah, Toby, you could say he's pretty happy about this. Although you could tell that even he knows this is not. Oh boy.
might be dead.
FaZe might be dead. He is going to cleanse as Guma is charging in, but Fate's Call exists. As there you go. Going to pick up that turret with the second Rift Herald. Not bad for T1.
Yeah, of all the people that catch shockwaves, Doran and Peanut will not particularly care. Anyone else still going to have to be somewhat respectful. And Faker picking up some early kills and already being level 11 is good because that is the insurance policy, right?
Throwing everything into Chovy here, really trying to get onto this Victor. Chaos Storm onto him, and that will be enough.
Big.
Victor flashes in, gets the Victor. They finally get Chovy out of this game.
There you go. That's money. Well invested there. Okay, that's the insurance policy. That casts it in. If the rest of the map falls apart, if you're not able to capitalize on, again, it's still a 4K gold lead, then knowing that Faker is there is going to make you feel a little bit safer, although I don't know if he is safe right now. Might not be.
Dominus here. Faker is not level 16, obviously, so the longer cooldown teleport will be used, and that should be enough to push them away. As is quite scary. And they're just going to play it safe this time around.
Pick themselves up a Cloud Drake as well. Stacking those Drakes, very important. And who's baiting who?
Oh, they see a hammer guy.
They know there's two.
Yeah, they should know that it's Zeus too, but they have Delight coming on in, and the Wild Growth might be enough. But Note's going to go for the Polymorph as he doesn't have Wild Growth. The slow coming in onto Zeus will dodge the whip, and the Gore Drinker value is massive as Zeus will not be taken out, and Owner and Carrion come in and punish as 2 kills go the way of Gore Drinker Jace.
Oh, it's the classic trap in a trap inside of a trap, Valdez, where both teams rather fought that they had to jump on the other team, but in the end it's T1 who gets the most out of it. Gore Drinker Jace, we mentioned it earlier, has been a build that has been on the rise and getting genuine value out of it right there. So he's really playing towards his limits as a bit of a dangerous teleport from Faker, but gonna end up working out nonetheless. And the key thing is, while those shenanigans have been happening, and kind of the problem that Genji have been able to deal with, haven't been able to deal with at all, is that while we are getting distracted by these skirmishes and these traps, Carrier and Guma are just pushing. And wave after wave goes into the turret. They get further and further ahead. They're able to pick up more and more objectives as nice sidestep on the flail. And then the Core Drinker value comes through. Carrier and Owner perfectly in time to help out their top laner. And that might have been it. If that trap ends up working out, they get another shutdown. Could be feeling a bit better, but now everyone on T1 is monstrously fed, and we see, well, we had a little dip in the gold graph, or rather in the incline. Now steeply upwards again.
Yeah, T1 Faker. I mean, he's almost got his 2-item spike here. Yeah. Still needs 4 minutes for the rod, but it's fine. I mean, he also has a stopwatch, and he's level 12, so he's a little bit more time, but he is actually just a very excellent late game win condition for them as well, outside of everything that they already have on the side of T1. Because, we had the 3,000 gold lead for the Varus, but we also have a Jace now that's very fed, and he's also going to be having a decent amount of scaling and obviously a lot of poke in this composition. As Peanut and Doran, will they beat themselves in? Again, the answer is absolutely yes. They get torn to shreds as Peanut looks to be down as well. That is Toby picking up a little shutdown there as well as Pays. Maybe looking for a bit more himself as there is a Kassadin. Another kill as well on to Chovy here, so double kill for the victor.
I know Peanut had to die there, but he gave his life for the good of his mid laner.
Of the colony.
Yeah, sure. Haven't heard about the colony for a while. We have to ask Atlas on the space how the colony's doing, because he's usually our reporter when it comes to the colony. And Genji is still 6.5k gold behind. Faker is fairly fed. Guma has been able to build up an immense item lead as well, and Genji are trying oh so desperately, but this Jace is he's actually so tanky.
Yeah.
Build makes a ton of sense in situations like this. Now Chovy again really trying to make his team reach the finish line. As again, Peanut goes in very enthusiastically here, doesn't quite get the flail, and as a result just go down. Very unfortunate, giving more gold over to Owner. But hey, that means that he has a shutdown still. So now if you kill him again, then you can get that gold. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Chovi's build as well, it is... I mean, he is just one-shotting
just going
people.
death cap.
Even players like the Jace, right, who have a decent amount of health, that has even the Merc Treads, even they are getting zapped, right? So Peanut looking to draw in a lot of attention and potentially bait them into a fight. That was him on the forefront. Now the Wild Growth, as they have so much damage, though. T1 trying to turn this one around. Carrier maybe a little bit too far forward as Chovy jumps into 3 people, and no, it was just an elaborate bait the whole time. As now Pace is on the backline. Doran will get the kill, but Pace is all alone. He will have to flash over the wall here. Faker is just hunting for people as Peanut and Doran should be able to survive against one Kassadin who's not level 16, but a massive fight once again for T1.
Well, they're just too far behind. If Pace has a Bloodthirster there, then maybe they can win. If T1 isn't as tanky as they are, even isn't as far ahead in levels as they are, then maybe Genji can win. But T1 have been able to... Did he steal that?
Yeah.
Yeah, nicely done, Peanut. This initial engage looks a little bit spooky because the rest of the team isn't quite in a position to collapse. But if T1 didn't play the early game as well as they did, you can win the game here, right? This is the type of turns where you get an actual team fight victory and then play from there. The problem is, Chovy nor Pace actually have the damage to chew through these health bars fast enough.
This is so tanky.
Yeah. And then the exhaust comes through, right? Pace ends up going down anyway.
Oh boy, here we go again. This just never ends. And Chovy's dead, so that's huge. But Pace still alive and Guma's getting pretty low, but doesn't quite matter because T1 have 5 carries on their lineup right now. Even Carrier is doing immense amount of damage here. So Peanut's going to go down. He's going to be chased through the jungle. No hope for him. That kill will be fed to Faker. And now we're just going to have a T1 brand Baron taken at 24 minutes.
Unsurprisingly, T1 was able to build up an immense gold lead with this composition, and now we're seeing them reap the rewards. They're able to pick up the Baron here. 3.5 minutes away from getting themselves a soul as well. And might not be the most high-value soul, but if you're a Kassadin, you're fed, and you're getting closer and closer to level 16, you're still going to take it. Very sweet there, waiting for just a second so Guma could have a Baron buff as well. As, yeah, if you're this far ahead, Guma is just like, guys, let's end it. Ends up dying for it immediately because he flashed over a wall. But it doesn't matter.
Renekton disappeared.
Yeah, and this is not even Prowler Scroll, like, this is Gordrink or Renekton as well, right? Doran is trying to stay alive, but not going to happen. And, well, Pace's BT finish, that's nice. Chovy is still sitting on only a single needlessly large rod, and with that Baron gone, T1 should be in a primo position to bring us to a game number 3, Veldas. Very different game from the previous one, though.
Okay, well, the fun never ends as Guma is being baited in a little bit. You see Carrion nearly dies and now teleports used. As both teams just never-ending fights as they throw a lot into Peanut, though. You see the health bars of Peanut and Doran actually taking a big hit in this trade. Carrion will have to back, but, you know, no fate's call at this point in time. T1 incredibly strong and far ahead, so Genji themselves also going to back away.
And the existence of Carrier as a Kalista support really helps with enabling... Oh, we're about to go there. 16 out of 16.
Monk o'clock.
There we go.
Oh boy. Well, go next.
Well, cashing out there.
We did it. Okay, we're good.
We have 4 people destined to get Faker to where he needs to be, and now Faker is there. He's level 16. There's his 2-item power spike.
Well, that's pretty good into Kassadin, I hear.
In a normal game state, yeah.
You can, like, polymorph him, right?
Yes.
Should be fine.
Sure.
No problem at all. Chains will be used. I think Peanut is purposely just kind of running in the front, trying to bait out a bunch of stuff, trying to help trade, and it's not really helping.
They're getting the cooldowns, but it's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't create.
It's because 5 people have cooldowns, and Faker's not even there. So, yeah, this one feels pretty done and dusted. Game number 2, T1 got a pretty massive early lead with all those bot dives, as Guma just gonna laugh in the face of Genji this time around. So the chase is on. Wow, he actually just, he just dies to another arrow. And these guys are just falling apart. Down they go, T1, the slow and steady push with the Baron buff. They've only got 15 seconds left, but I think that's 15 seconds too many. Probably don't even need it at this point. As the poke is huge, the chains go in, Faker goes in as well. And nothing is going out. They are all in under the turrets. FaZe desperate to do something with the wild growth underneath this turret and underneath this Nexus, but the damage is just too much. Faker, oh, okay, they gotta hit the Nexus actually. That was a little bit scary there, lots of low health bars, but T1 will get it done in the end.
T1 taking over, getting their hands on an early dominating draft, and then completely bopping their opponents. Nicely done. After a game number 1, it was back and forth. There was action. We didn't know who was going to win. It felt pretty clear. 10 minutes in, after the second bot dive, completely decimated the chances for FaZe and the Light to play the game. Even Peanut dying a bunch of times there. And T1, our best team bar none at playing out these aggressive early game drafts. Because if you put that draft in any other team's hands, I'm not believing. I don't see it. Like, it's so ridiculously execution based, and there were still some mid-game fights that didn't quite go the way they wanted. It was messy, but the gold graph really tells the whole story.
Yeah, I like the way that Genji kind of tried to fight fire with fire. They noticed, hey, our victors really accelerated, so maybe we can get something out of this, but it was just it was one guy can't do it alone, and you know, I mean that in the way of the victor himself and how fed Chovy was, right? Genji as a team trying their best, but yeah, T1 overall just way too good at snowballing the early game, as you mentioned, and they snowballed it into a 12,000 gold lead at the end of the game. And T1 will force a game number 3, a gift, a present from T1 to allow us to see these two teams play once again. Guys, we are going to take a quick break and have the space after, and I'm really curious to see what they have to say about this game number 2.
세주 페이스
랭크 볼게 이거. 랭. 이 빠졌다.
굴 따봐.
세주 잡았어. 나이스. 유지해볼래?
룰루 치프냐?
룰루 집 가야 돼 무조건.
룰루 피가 오네.
앞으로 없어?
천천히.
얘 정화 없다.
라인.
너랑 풀 같이 돌아.
오케이.
나궁 돌아. 궁 5초.
랭크 출진이 있다. 세다.
천천히 본다.
천천히 할게. 그냥 타워만 턴. 얘네가 걸어야 돼.
천천히.
궁!
밑으로.
칼리공. 천천히. 타워.
대리공.
대리필. 타워 쳐. 룰루 시간 빠졌다. 룰루 시간 돌아.
나이스.
Welcome back to the space, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Atlas, joined by Huni and Wolf, here to break down game number 2 between T1 and Gen G. This one, a little bit more cut and dry, perhaps, than the first, but it all started in the draft.
Let's start with the draft here because I really feel like what we saw from this draft from T1 is kind of the idea they were hoping for and looking for in game 1, especially with the bot lane. But the Annie pick really messed up their tempo with what they want to do with the draft. This time they just banned it. They removed that from the equation. I think Peanut figured out early on in this draft, like, if we want to play this area, I think I need to pull the Elise away from them. But ultimately did decide to go back with the Sejuani anyway, so they left the Elise over. And this, I think, was a critical mistake for Gen G. It really cost them a lot of power in the early game because Peanut couldn't defend those dives.
Yeah, I mean, I think T1 actually drafted really, really well. But the thing is, I can't blame the Gen G because like these type of the draft that you need to execute it perfectly with especially Varus, Elise, Jace, Cassidy, Kalistep, all 5 champions. There's no front line. Everyone just is playing the carry. But like if you mess up one time, like it's gonna you can't come back. But the thing is like Gen G, they actually pick a more like skilled champ. But the thing is like they play really well. But I think that it's just like the T1 snowball. I would say just like it was out of the mind. Yeah, it was perfectly, really, really good.
Yeah. Clean.
It was pretty ridiculous. The reason why we highlight the Elise and, of course, the Kalista is that it makes the diving so much easier there towards the bottom side. And speaking of which, let's have a look at our first highlights, which is honestly where the game kinda was decided.
Yeah, essentially. Elise can dive so well with Repel. This was a really clean arrow from Guma. He's able to pick up Pays here, and you can see that there's just no way for Peanut to actually deter these dives once they're on top of the turret. And that's exactly what Kalista Varus is going to do. Double Hail of Blades here in the bottom lane allows them so much damage, and they just do it again.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like really funny that they actually make the turret stronger to make sure not happen, like this kind of thing happen.
Yeah,
but
right.
the thing is like after that patch note thing happened, the Elise peak and bend rate it went way higher because the Elise can actually just not take the damage from the turret, and those strategy still works.
Yeah,
perfectly.
You'd have to like change the turret to make sure if like someone's within turret range for a certain amount of time, it starts firing at them or something, because they could just wait and be like, all right, 3, 2, 1, and you'll literally hear this in comms with teams where they count down 3, 2, 1, and then go kill somebody. Juggle the aggro perfectly, as T1 did twice there. The Varus got massively ahead. It was a 3,000 gold lead in the mid game. And yeah, some of those scrappy fights we're going to get into in a moment here, Varus can't do as much, but they really hurt the ability for Zeri to basically be a champion for the rest of the game.
Yeah, let's have a look at our second highlight here, which was definitely a lot of chaos, but honestly, it was just T1 in their element. It's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the like really overextended play from the Chovy. I guess he thought like he can actually finish the older champion that they were just like kind of low, but I think he missed the ultimate after. I think Keria played really, really well after the Chovy flash, or like after he make a overplay, and they can't win anymore.
Zeus played this game so beautifully too on the Jace. He didn't play poke, he just played for skirmishes because he knew that T1 were going to be in these fights constantly where Gen G were trying to fight their way back. He went for the Gore Drinker, and in a lot of these fights he just plays it so cleanly, never really goes into range for him that much. In these fights, just constantly getting on top of the weakened targets, punishing Chovy. And we saw some really big overextensions from Chovy and Peanut there in the mid game, trying to bring the game back, because at this point it's desperation, but ultimately it doesn't matter. I wanted to highlight the Gore Drinker value, though, in this game for Zeus. Like we've been talking about, it's kind of been a meme, right? Healing, not that great here for him, but I think what it offered him in terms of having that extra health right now in the way this game played out, this is the best Gore Drinker game of Jace we've seen so far.
Yeah, the top lane situation where he manages to get that turnaround after Faker died was actually absolutely massive. But let's have a look at the POG. I have a feeling you might pick it up. It is Gumayushi that collects it. His second of the season, which is actually a lower number than I was expecting.
Whew. I mean, it's well deserved. I think in middle of the fight as well, I think he was accurately he's hitting on landing on the ultimate, and also like the lane phase was perfect. I think that's the thing that he actually make the assumption that after game 1 only Varus is not good, and the game 2 we actually need to poke Varus to pressure the lane more, and then get the prio in the middle game, actually just be able to poke more, and just even though it's not high pressure on the Nash, it doesn't really matter because he can actually make a play, and I think that's his strength.
Yeah, T1 gave him a draft where he could be the king, and that he was, right? Like the draft, we were a little bit worried about it before we went into the game. Like, they actually pulled us off this draft, trying to do a lot of things, a lot of dive, a lot of risk, but they got the lead, they snowballed it, they fought non-stop, and that's how you play that Varus to an extreme level.
It was really nicely done, and now we get to see whether they can do it again. Let's throw it back to the casters and get into game number 3.
Thank you, Spacers, once again for that awesome breakdown. And yes, we are gifted a game number 3 as T1 push it forward with the help of Gumayusi's Varus. They were really just feeling themselves in that game, especially with the lead that they got early on, and the Zeri here punished. Just, you know, Gen G left some angles, and if you do that against T1, you're gonna have a hard time.
Because out of all our teams, the most notable one to take a lead and run with it is specifically T1. And Gen G, to me, is a team that can actually match T1 when we are on even footing. We saw the team fighting prowess that this team is able to show in game number 1. But even Gen G, who, in my opinion, are one of our best defensive teams, can't come back from what T1 just did. So that at least probably going to be high on the ban list again. Wonder whether that is going to be enough, as Gen G this time around will be picking up the blue side, so might be able to secure themselves the Varus this time around, because that really has been the pick that, no matter what, seems to be prioritized, incredibly strong, has multiple build paths as well, even though we have been a much bigger fan of the lethality variety. Not in the last place, because it snowballs as well, as we just saw.
It absolutely does. Gen G might get a chance. Let's see what the bans look like, as they were banning just Ashe, Caitlyn, Lucian on red side, but things are going to look very differently here on the blue side, you'd have to imagine, at least in terms of some of the bans. So really putting a lot of thought into this, and Elise will not be allowed. Seems like a good idea.
Unsurprising after what we just witnessed. That is the type of game that immediately makes you go, okay, you got the respect that you deserve, Caitlyn, another one of these picks. For T1, I'm wondering about Annie. Is that going to be on the high or in the first rotation? Or my expectation is that Gen G will not be one that, and as a result you can leave it up and then maybe pick it away yourself. Karrier has already shown that he is more than happy to play anything really, but he's actually played
anything.
Anything, yes. I didn't. That wasn't even on purpose. Thank you, Veldas. You bring out sides of me that I wasn't aware of, and maybe I shouldn't be. I don't know if that was a good joke. As final ban here, Jace going to hit the table again. Was not even the most pivotal part of the T1 composition, but is a champion that is hard to reliably counter, and it's also one of Zeus' most comfortable. Even if you get to shut him down, which, when you're against T1, generally you wanted the resources too, because you need to focus on other lanes. He has shown that he can bounce back no matter the game state. Ashe has not been banned yet.
Ban Ashe.
Well, that should be a B1 Ashe.
Should be a B1 Ashe. You cannot give this to Karrier. And Delight is a great Ashe player himself, so like, why not? Like, in what world do you not? I mean, yes, there are other strong picks because the Camille got banned, right? They wanted to get their hands on Varus as they knew Gen G would first pick Ashe, but still, you have to first pick Ashe.
Yeah, this Camille ban is a very interesting one, and does it signal that they want to go for an early Gnar? Do they want to take away and maybe enable Zeus to go for an R4 Fiora down the line? Not expecting Gen G to pick up a top laner in the early rotation, and you can ban 2 more top laners and then secure yourself a Jax or a Gnar and not have one of the more threatening counter laners available. Could be the case. For Pace, it's going to be his Draven again. Was very strong on that in game number 1. Now, combined with the Ashe, still our most oppressive support that we have seen, although I haven't seen the matchup against specifically Annie yet, and I'm wondering how Ashe is going to deal with the only potential post 6 and the power of Molten Shield. Gonna see in this match whether the Annie finally provides a worthy opposition, as it's just going to be Victor again. No jungler picked up just yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a great choice, like, objectively, but I can kind of understand where they're coming from, because Chovy, if they were on equal footing and he was playing the way he was playing on Victor in game 2, he probably would have just single-handedly carried the game. So, like, when it comes to draft strategy, this might not have been the best choice, but I can kind of see where they're coming from.
There is also the fact that this Annie can also go to Faker, and we have seen that pros like the Victor into Victor into Annie matchup, rather, able to outrange her and kind of keep her down for at least the early laning phase. So that can be another consideration. Now Kassadin gonna get taken off the board again. T1 can just ban another jungler here. Try and limit Peanut's pool, although already the S-tier junglers all gone. Maoka and Sejuani both off the table. Wukong already picked. Elise
Vi?
not available. Vi would be my guess. Yeah, if you want to really try and limit.
Peanut's just going to play Poppy.
Oh my god, he might.
We've seen him play it into Wukong before. The Vi seems pretty obvious.
Yeah, Poppy seems like a great shout. Really good.
I'm not sure
how
good it is into Varus Annie.
Yeah,
but
not great.
And then you can kind of draft around it with the last pick. So maybe not. But yeah, Peanut might need to dig into his bag of tricks here.
Yeah, I like that Fiora ban. Makes sense. Still feeling like an R4 draft here for T1, and of course with the Camille already being taken away, T1 kind of signaled that this was the direction that they might have wanted to go in. Fiora versus Camille, definitely a skill matchup, but yeah, it's just not. And it's Zeus is not, so even though we are not excited, we are
Jax.
completely fine with this.
Jax is left up, and I think Doran might give it a shout. There are some other picks you could go for. You could try to go for Aurelia yourself. I think the first thing he said was Jax. Just looking at what he was, you know. So that might just be the choice. And yeah, seems pretty obvious with the way we've been seeing this matchup go recently.
Jungle pool severely pinched.
Look at Peanut.
All up to Peanut now.
He's like, oh god.
What do we do?
What am I gonna do? Get me out of here.
Put Peanut in the corner.
I think he's saying Poppy.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm on point with these mouth reads today.
The Veldanalyst, his skills at reading pro players keeps getting better.
I'm the mouth
and better.
I'm the lip reader. You're on the couch.
Oh, this would be yeah. There are still a number of pivots available.
Oh, okay. So a Jhin support. Annie is mid.
Yes.
Yep.
Assume it will be the Jhin support. I haven't seen Keria play Varus support yet. I think. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point it happens, but it's not going to be in this game. And indeed, as we pointed out, will be rotated towards the mid lane. Faker gonna pick that one up. And
Keria has played Ashe, Caitlyn, Jhin, Kalista, and Twitch. So that's 5 different quote-unquote AD champions.
Yeah, if you show that champion pool and you told people, yeah, Keria's actually going to role swap to AD carry in 2023, they will believe you. Well, as these drafts, to me, feel relatively well-balanced. The Ashe is my big question mark. Is the Ashe going to be as big a problem as we've seen in the past? It has been an almost uncounterable menace. There is no Sejuani. Takes away a little bit of the threat. Also, the return of Peanut, his Poppy. Good into the Wukong, sure, but is it going to actually have the impact that it had before? Has been nerfed repeatedly, has disappeared from the meta.
Guy in the left, bottom left is like, it's my first time at LOL Park, and my wife is a huge Chovy fan. Not a big surprise. Chovy does have quite a lot of fans. There's also a very cute Keria sign. As this is going to get even more interesting. Some more picks that have been permabanned in the past are now hitting the Rift once again. Annie is back, Ashe especially is back on the Rift as Faker is playing Annie once again. See if it works out for him here as we're jumping onto the Rift for game number 3. Here we go. As I said once again for Faker, but actually I don't believe he has played it this season. I think it was the Yone.
I have a feeling we're gonna see when Faker played any loss.
Yeah, if he has. I mean, I'm pretty sure he has.
With the amount of games he's played, surely there's like a season 3 game where he played.
He's played 74 unique champions.
We're gonna find out. If there's no graphic, then I'm.
You know who would know this is Papa Smithy. He's like, yeah, in 2023 winter, Faker debuted his Annie on November 23rd. It was 5:23 p.m. and I was drinking a Coca-Cola. Like, I would not be surprised, but I'm sure our stats team can get on that.
Might just have never played it. And in that case, we get a unique Faker champion graphic.
Yep.
So
Number 75?
we'll find out no matter what. Doran going to play a little aggressive here. Now, of course, Jax does have a substantial amount of level 1 power, but this is Grasp and no Ghost, so Doran needs to be a little bit more respectful. Early control being taken here by Gumayushi and Keria. But this is Ashe and Draven level 1.
Alright, this level 1 is going to be extremely important. Fourth shot. Here comes Peanut. He's on vision. The heal already used. And flash. As Keria's like, no. This is not the way the spot lane will play out tonight.
Not getting taken down early. Flash for Keria already taken away as Peanut's just going to start this. Owner is going to be there as well. And I don't think Peanut knows. We'll know now.
Yeah, now he knows. And he's trying to trade onto Peanut. Here is Owner now backing away and leashing the blue buff.
There is bot side prio. We do have the first roam coming over from the light.
Here comes the level 2 Ashe roam into the enemy jungle.
But now, do you have Keria and Guma moving over a little bit earlier?
Uh-oh. Did they go too far? Always the question. As a lot of damage into Peanut here. Delight as well. Super squishy at this point. And Faker is looking for it, and so is Owner. Trying to extend that queue as FaZe will be forced to cleanse as we are walking on the thinnest tightrope some of these plays.
But no one dies.
Oh, there you go. No, it wasn't 75, it was 74. Oh, there you go. So first time for Faker on Annie.
So Papa would have known that as well.
Yeah.
He would have said, no, this is the first.
Yeah, he would have.
Man. Papa's doing well.
He is, yeah.
Yeah, the team is doing exceptionally well. Even though I really miss Prince.
I do, yeah. And Vikla.
Yeah, both of them. But they're in good hands, which
KT's
is nice.
doing okay.
Yeah, okay. KT's not complaining.
Yeah.
Not even Sandbox is complaining, which is kind of wild given the the swap that they made working out as well as it has.
Somehow Envy is just really good now.
He is. And
really stable.
Shocking turn of events. You never know when the season starts what's going to happen. Due to the early game shenanigans, both our junglers are fairly behind the curve. So we have Peanut, still only level 3, just now getting to his 4th camp. Same for Owner, although he is clearing a little bit faster. Keria just saying hello in mid.
Yeah.
As...
Ooh, he's going to extend that stun. There's the Q and a bunch of damage coming in. And there it is, flash on in, but Doran is baited. As Zeus just laughs in his face and flashes away. He will win the 1v1.
Oh, he didn't have to go for that.
Oh, and here we go again. A lot of trouble for Guma. He's going to have to flash here, but Pays has got an axe for his back. As now, Pays going to get an early cash in this game.
That might have saved the mental of Genji a little bit there. Doran, goes down into 1v1. Unforced error on his end. But fortunately,
just ignore the top lane. It doesn't exist.
While in the death chamber, he pans over his camera to bot side and sees Paige just running forward. Getting the kill as, you can see the moment where Doran's like, do I go for this? Right here. It's like, no, and then tries to fake it as well by moving out, but Zeus was so ready. And this is where we see the power of this early combo. Ashe makes it basically impossible to ever get out of the situation. Good sidestep from Pace there as well on the flourish from Keria. Unable is he to cancel the play.
Yeah, that's really the thing. If Jin doesn't have flourish, there is no root right before level 6. So the Draven just runs straight in a line at you. And if he's winning the trade, you can't stop him. It's not like you've got a Lulu on your side. You don't have a Soraka, there's no Yuumi, Jin is not an enchanter. So if he misses his deadly flourish and does not root you, you are free to do whatever you want.
And early Drake going over. Very helpful. We again are getting some of our less desirable Drakes out of the way. So surely now it will just be Chemtech?
Yeah, Chemtech.
Yeah, Chemtech next.
Yeah.
Fun.
We don't have any healing or shielding on either of our supports. So it only makes sense. Wait,
Well,
why did he let the cannon go? Hayes. What are you doing? Okay, he's just trying to kill him, and he nearly dies himself. That is a stack of the rune here for Keria.
Uh-oh.
And here we go. Peanut is here. Can he stop them, though? Faker's level 6 with Flash. Here we go. Tibbers, say hello to my little bear. As that is going to be a lot of damage already onto the Gen G bot lane. Make it 2, and Peanut is just like, well, I got to try to do something, right? But Keria baits him in, and that is a double kill for Gumayusi. As Chevy's like, well, I'll just kill Tibbers, I guess. That'll make me feel better.
Yes, Flash, but heal's available, so you gotta know. Can't actually get anything here. Absolutely pivotal roam there coming through from Faker after a kill that goes the way of Gen G. The bot lane state looks a little dicey, but then on the return crash of multiple waves, T1's ready. We have the early poke, and this is where you do see the value to come through. Paze is taken down very low due to the poke of Guma, and Keria takes a bunch of damage from the minions as well. And then just Owner, you could have survived, but with Faker also being there, there is no way in hell that you're ever living here. Very, very well done there. And the subsequent kill on Pace means that his next big shutdown is going to, or his cash out rather, is going to be quite a while away. And all of a sudden the game state looking way better for T1. 2 kills going over to Guma is pretty much a dream scenario. Double Dirk again for this bot lane.
Yeah. And it's such a rough situation to get yourself in. You just got a kill on the bottom side. You're trying to put on pressure. And on the first crash after on your turret, there's 4 people in your lane. You have your jungler there as well. And you're feeling like, okay, like Paze is pretty strong. We should be okay. But just the fact that Faker's there makes it you can't win. You can't win the fight. It's 4v3, you're under your turret, it doesn't matter. Tibbers exists, you've got a stun, you have 7 different ways to engage. And that's all it takes. And all of a sudden, it's just a massive swing of gold into T1's pockets from the one play.
And unlike the previous game, where we had, in game number 2 in particular, a very clear scaling disadvantage for T1, even with... Oh, Faker has got spotted.
Uh-oh, he is looking for more. There's the root this time from the Jhin. As Pace will be forced to flash away from the scary bear. As Peanut should be able to secure this one. Just going to smite it down, so at least Gen G pick up the Rift Herald. A little bit of something for their troubles.
The light is ult, just ding 6. As I was getting into, that Herald is nice.
It's rooted. That's
might be paid.
No stun.
Yeah, I was a little worried for Faker there, but he will be fine with the reinforcement
He's
still
got
there.
stopwatch, he's fine.
You're right. Should have done a Veldis check.
Yep.
Early Merc threats coming through here for Chovy. But this composition from T1 also has great scaling. You can just straight up front to back team fight. You are able to play with your Annie as...
Carrie's like, thank you very much, I'll take that plate for myself.
That is Karia's plate.
They see you, by the way. Gumayusi might die here because of this. No, he's going to flash away, as that should be enough. And now they're actually poking back, as Peanut is the one that has to run away from the duo lane in the bottom side.
Crucially, Owner on his way, and Peanut has to wait for his damage to actually show up. The light and Pace not able to join there in time, still walking back from base. As a result, no kill that is found. And T1 can continue snowballing. This top half of the map, by the way, we haven't talked about it for a bit because it's top, but after that kill, Zeus has just completely taken over the lane, is now 40 CS up. On, it's not even his most iconic champion because, you know, that's Jace or Cannon.
One of
But
his
this is the champion he debuted and then looked incredible, so I probably cursed him.
Okay, well, they see you. And Zeus jump to the south here. He's going to run straight into Peanut as, yeah, you're not getting out of this one, buddy. As, okay, he's got Flash, though, as Doran's going to flash first. And they got the kill.
Flash first to show dominance.
You know, yeah, it's like, I don't need my Flash. As now Faker in a little bit of trouble. He's going to get arrowed. He's going to get poppied. But at the end of the day, he has a Rod of Ages and a Doran's Ring and Stopwatch, so he should be fine. He's actually even going to drop Tibbers onto Delight just as a show of dominance himself. And, you know, he had Keria nearby, so might as well try.
This topside play, though, is incredibly important because it means that Doran, even though he didn't end up getting the kill, gets a moment of respite from the beating that he had been receiving from Zeus. Also, Zeus gonna make his way back to lane without actually finishing his Triforce, which is a big spike for the Gnar, and it's gonna give Doran a little bit more time. He will have his Sunderer finished, so I'm gonna be feeling a little bit more secure. The main issue is that as we do get Mountain Drake, and that is a big Drake here. T1 in particular is really going to get into trouble if their raw damage output isn't enough to take people down. You have some Shred with Owner, but outside of it, any lethality Jhin.
Uh-oh. We've seen this before, as tons of damage already into the Ashe, but an arrow just traded. Now Toby's in a lot of trouble. Double Cyclone should come in here. As there's the second one gets knocked up, but take a look at Peanuts Poppy just gonna knock away Annie. As T1, they had reinforcements from bot and looking for a little bit of a snipe. Jovi has to flash it. Not sure that he would have died to that, but still gonna take it as cautiously as possible.
Yeah, I'm gonna say probably. I've seen like Fat Varuses at this point in the game with no armor on Jovi. It would have been close, but can't really fault him for the flash there.
Yeah, could have had a follow-up as well, you never know, as Chovy, so.
But it definitely, it feels really bad, as we will get the chart, was momentarily worried there. And
momentarily.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just for a slight moment.
So, what's really interesting, and I'm not 100% sure, so Paze went for an early Vamp Scepter, and then for a Dirk, but of course, used to be able to go Eclipse on Draven. That's not the case, and I do think the Dirk provides a lot of value regardless, but wondering whether that was a mistake and he tried to build an old Eclipse into an Essence Reaver, or whether this was a call specifically to get himself into a better position and be able to sustain against the poke from Guma and Keria. Maybe if we get, you know, a Genji win, we can ask him if that does come through. Right now, not looking too hot, as T1 is still snowballing this early game. This first Dragon, though, and in general these Mountain Drakes, are going to be absolutely pivotal. Well, that is a ton of vision control. Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have Ashe, and it still feels unfair.
Yeah, it's rough. He's about to run onto some of these. Well, actually, maybe not. 700 to 700. A lot of the plate gold actually going to the hands of Doran in the top lane.
Ooh, gets first Turbo Blood. That's nice. That's a little pick-me-up for Genji, who was in danger of falling way too far behind. The Genji composition, while it does have a lot of powers in teamfights, scares me as Faker.
Oh, Faker, he tries to zoom ease away from that one, but he is going to get taken out by the Draven, of all people, as meanwhile, Poppy died.
Really clean setup there to allow Pace to actually get his cash in. Well done, as Delight is showing again why Ashe is just permanently banned.
Yeah.
Is going for Mandate build, so will have a lot less damage. Not going to get the damage either. Early Umbral Glaive is going to feel a lot better in most scenarios, but was kind of far behind early on, so not wanting to take the risk. Guma going to get this solo turret. Feels good. Not going to be the first turret block, but still going to keep T1 on this roughly 1k gold. But as I was saying, while this is happening, remember, we also have the play on mid, and Peanut is like, no, guys, we can fight this. They could, in fact, not. CC chain, very nicely done. This is a fed lethality Varus, so even if you're Poppy with your passive, you're still going to get blown up in a matter of seconds. This is really cute.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, here, Pace.
Not a difficult
have a snack.
arrow to hit either. No. I mean, don't want to take anything away from Delight, but at the same time, this is just what Ashe offers you, as Poppy Copter going to knock away the Mega Gnar. That's pretty large, as, okay, the huge burst though onto Peanut. He's going to be followed up on. Faker will have to pay the price, as Owner gets the eye and gets the hell out of there. Not looking for any follow-ups for T1.
Arrow hits a clone, unfortunately, for Genji. T1, get away, have to give up a kill on Faker. with the flash and stopwatch still available, could have perhaps lived, chose not to. And Essence Reaver now done for Pace as well. But crucially, they get the Herald, get the objective they were looking for, and they can maybe turn this Herald into a early Drake. And we talked about the amount of difficulty that T1 will have if they give up the Drakes. Well, same can be said for Gen G, as we're really starting to see why this Poppy's kind of fallen out of favor. I feel like she used to be tankier, Valdez.
Maybe it's just Annie. Uh-oh, Chovy. What's going on here? A immaculate stun might save him. Dodges the house as even Zeus has to flash away. And a couple of our best players here just butting heads in the top lane.
Looking a lot more like game number 1. I'm
That's
loving
good news.
it.
That's
it's
good news.
Regardless of who you're cheering for, very exciting to see these two teams be so evenly matched.
Still anyone's game from here, too.
Really is. Yeah.
As Victor is kind of out of control right now. Here are you just gonna, you know,
Man,
he's
Ash.
seen some crazy hitboxes before in his time. So he says, no thank you. Baker, nice stun, is going to deny any follow-up from Doran.
First strike, 18 gold. Right in the pocket.
It was only a matter of time until everybody takes first strike. As okay, the chain's gonna hit Chovy. The follow-up should be huge, as there you go. The shots, 1, 2, 3 is blocked. And 4? No. Nice try. Delight is gonna get in front of that with this flash, though.
True team player
has
is
the flash.
Delight. But that does mean that the Drake's gonna go over. And champions like Draven also not the biggest fans of having to play into a ton of resistances. We do have a build from Chovy that should be able to deal with these tankier builds a little bit better. Going for the Leandries. Expect him to go for a Void Staff third as well. And it's not impossible if Pace hits late game, but we're still very far off of that. And the main issue that I have with the Gen G team comp is that particularly when Faker or Zeus has flash available, it becomes so hard for the Gen G bottom lane to play the game. Because unless you can match flashes, any form of CC from T1 kills you.
Oh, here we go again. Alley-ooped in, and Guma's just dead. Another cash in for Pace. Make that 3 in this game. Chovy in a little bit of trouble. The follow-up with the Cyclone might be enough to get him down, but Keria is zoned by the Chaos Storm. Doesn't matter. Owner is able to get the job done. They're trying to chase him down. Not sure about this one. Doran in a bit of trouble, but nearly able to take out the monkey on the backside of this one. As Owner will just barely survive.
Oh, eggs into the Pace basket. Here for Gen G, more and more kills being fed into this Draven. And Pace has been playing incredible. That's not really my issue. It's just that T1's backline access is so insanely strong. And any form of CC landing is an immediate kill. We also saw as Pace answers our question, picks himself up, that BT second. So going to be tougher to kill than he would otherwise be. This is my favorite combo of this game. Right, like the arrow. Like the alley-oop from Peanut, beautifully done.
ADC in 2023. They're actually in a really nice spot right now, but
yeah, no, they're still, they actually are. As we see, what, 480 carries in this game.
They're in a pretty good spot, but that one didn't feel good for Guma.
Perhaps more of a commentary on the state of support. Doran goes in deep, is not able to actually take down Owner, and provided that the Gen G bot lane can live and Peanut can soak as much damage as he wants, and Doran can kind of get a drawn-out fight, Gen G can match until the end. But I'm looking at T1 and the amount of damage that they have readily available on any of their members while still sporting a decent amount of beefiness. Between Faker with, now Zhonya's finished, has Rod of Ages as well, and their entire top half can be tough for Gen G to single out a target unless it's Guma or Keria, as we saw in their previous play. But as more and more Mountain Drakes are going to get stacked up on either side, getting these individual picks, it's going to get harder and harder.
Definitely will. A moment to catch our breath in this game. It's similar to game 1.
In the series even.
Yeah, in the series.
We haven't had a lot of those, Valdez.
It's been just non-stop action most of the time. This time it's 12 kills in 21 minutes. Still a nice amount, not quite as much as game 1, but Delight's got his arrow ready, and you know he's going to be drawing that bowstring if he ever has a chance. Next Mountain Drake going to be a big objective. The Lethality Varus and Jhin combination from the bottom lane doesn't make for the fastest Baron take ever, but it is T1. So we'll see what idea they have about this as well. As okay, it's going to hit a clone. Have to part the red seed there. Everybody was just going different directions.
And between the arrows and the amount of long-range initiation or long-range damage rather, and poke that's available for T1, it can make these contests around the dragon fully rely on who actually hits their crucial piece first. Is it Guma hitting an ultimate? Is it Keria finding a deadly flourish after an arrow or an NEQ hits someone? Or is it going to be the arrows from the light? They're going to be flying faster and faster. About to hit level 9. Yep, that's exactly what we're talking about. Those 1 or 2 of those arrows can mean that you can't contest anymore. Around an objective, T1.
Okay, all Delight has to do is fire his arrow from base.
Yeah, that actually just works fine, doesn't it?
As long as it hits someone.
Actually makes it better.
Well,
if it hits.
Yes, but if it hits, it's much more difficult to hit.
Assuming that it hits, it's fine. Poppy can set it up. Peanut can die afterwards.
Yeah, little alley-oop. Why not?
Grab them.
We already saw one, why not another?
I'm a little scared by Pace.
Look at this. Who's flanking who? We've seen this before. Zeus in a little bit of trouble, but there's the arrow straight into Faker, but not before he gets his stun off. He's alone in the front line, though. He's got Owner as they do come in from the jungle, but T1 are being pushed away. The Chaos Storm damage is massive as Owner goes a bit too deep along with his team, and Gen G will get a very nice trade in this weird scuffle in the bottom lane.
Teleports invested from either side. But it's Gen G that gets the better end of the trade. Teleport towards the top side. They are going to forsake this dragon. Instead, playing towards the objective here. Trying and pick up the Baron.
Trying to zone Chovy out of here. And fourth shot. Oh, we're not really doing much damage yet. Is Keria, who has...
Guma, you've stolen these before.
Oh boy, here we go again. As a little bit early on that one.
Oh, does have his W still.
A little bit of damage in there, nearly the timing, but yeah, Penis is going to be able to smite that one down without much of a hitch as Gen G. Let's take another look at this bottom fight.
And the big difference maker is that Peanut is ahead of the play while the teleports are kind of channeling simultaneously, and then that stun from the line means that Faker doesn't actually get to do anything until the rest of his team is already getting collapsed upon. FaZe is able to stay alive as well, so the damage output very consistent. And yes, Gen G win this fight, and they also get themselves the Baron, which is big. But with what we're seeing here from T1, they are also a single Drake away from getting a Mountain Soul point, or a Mountain Soul rather, currently on Mountain Soul point, and picking that up to make Gen G's game infinitely harder. So Gen G now need to make sure that they actually utilize this Baron to crumble the base, get full map control, and ensure that at no point are we flipping for a soul.
This Jax on the side lane as well is getting really strong for Gen G. As Peanut's going pretty deep, but he is Poppy, so he should be kind of fine. Takes a big chunk as they're going to catch Chovy here. Nice amount of poke. And even the Poppycopter just going to be reset here. Not a big deal. As yeah, Gen G just trying to group around mid. That's not doing too much, but I suppose it's getting a little bit of space for Doran to just push bot.
Okay.
As he probably should not have jumped in there. He's going to get walloped and killed. Oh, over the wall he goes as another house going to hit him. And now he's going to get behind his team and barely skirt away. But this is not really what you're looking for from a Baron push.
They saved Private Doran though. He got out. Extraction successful, Valdez.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had to invest a lot of resources and also are wasting Baron buff. So it's not good. But they did get him out.
Still a nice power play, I guess. Could have been better, but
they're not. They might get this mid inner or an outer rather, but I don't know if that's really what you were hoping for, and I don't even know if they will.
I mean, the wave clear's decent. There's the arrow. Scary is just like no, thanks. I'm just gonna flash it. not interested in that, as Doran just a simple leap strike away. Zeus trying to 1v2 against the fed Victor and Peanut. Probably not the best angle, but...
And the minion in a dream.
Yeah, this will go down. There it goes. Mid-outer, finally claimed with this Baron buff. They did it.
Yeah, as you were saying, Val, that's not quite what you hoped for.
Zeus took a lot of damage in the trade as Faker just pushing forward, trying to stop the push once again. The scraps here of the Baron buff, you could say, still remaining. They're trying to make the most of it, are Gen G, but not going to get this inner just yet.
And again, pace of the game slowing down slightly. Pace also, I was worried he was going to build Collector. Not the case.
Arrow?
Well, Guma was pulling back another arrow. Look at that. Yeah, oh, look at that. Look at that. Cool. He is level 11, so that is actually... Doesn't even have the cool field yet for his Kampong. So it's going to be even better when he eventually finishes that. But that might still be a little bit off. No, Pace got a crit cloak and Lefellet and Turk, so I was worried that he was going to be a collector. But that's a BF sword.
Yeah.
So he knows, and things are okay, because I can excuse a collector, you know, maybe early item when you're snowballing, but you're playing into mountain, so don't do that to yourself. And he won't! Picks up the Infinity Edge now, and that's a big spike that they're going to need to contest this next dragon, because T1 can give this one up and maybe look for a counterplay, get themselves a turret or two. But for Gen G, this is a really important objective to pick up.
Yep. We see on the side of T1, actually...
The ruler spot?
Did Pays learn from his older Gen G brother?
Yeah, as far as... of course, we haven't been able to watch a lot of LPL. From what I heard, Ruler still has the ruler spot. It's still a thing. It's still happening.
Never goes away.
Never goes away.
Why would it? It's his spot.
As good as he is, that's just where he's going to be found. Whee!
It's not going to hit anything, but that's okay. He'll have it, maybe a couple for the next Drake. He's fine with that.
Oh yeah, he's finished his Colfit as well. Look at that cooldown. Oh, man.
Yeah. All right, we're almost halfway there.
Oh, I love this flank from Owen.
Nice.
Again, backline access is key here if you are T1. I would love to see some really thorough warding from Gen G behind their, or in their own jungle rather, behind their front lines to make sure that Owner doesn't, or Zeus even, doesn't find a way in. He's been hiding in fog for quite a while now.
Very sneaky Owner, but he definitely doesn't want to engage onto the Jax. And right now, Doran is kind of the keeper in the mid lane. So he'll just hold on to that as there's the arrow. It's going to catch Faker, but not a huge follow-up. Maybe trying to knock someone away here as Faker even going to get healed up by Guma, just trying to get him to safety. Poppycopter reset.
Owner is going to get spotted. They know about the flank. Yeah, he might have to give this one up.
TP from bot to mid. As Zeus is trying to group up with the team. Chovy, a slightly awkward spot, but it looks like Gen G will get the Drake with no problem, as that's the knockaway of the Annie. See you later, Faker, says Peanut. And yeah, it's just a pretty safe take onto that objective. T1 do have the first path to the Baron.
Wouldn't be the first one. That damage isn't amazing. Oh yeah. Oh, they're doing it.
Okay, Meganar, they're going to try to turn onto Doran, but he sees this a mile away.
The Ash value.
Yeah. Yeah, you thought the arrows were an issue. How about like 6 seconds of vision in a giant spot anywhere on the map? Seems good. Hashtag not salty.
How about Ash making it through somehow?
I mean, you saw the trade that T1 made for it. The Varus has been such a huge, just important piece of the puzzle for T1 in this series, you could say.
I still really like the Varus.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely
no Ash.
It was no, it's no Ash. Nothing is. Well, maybe Maokai. But even Maokai, we don't really see make his way through the drops anymore. Looking at the itemization spikes, as we will have the Baron live right now. Neither team expected to go from that. I don't know. Well, T1 will because they're T1, but in terms of spikes that they're about to hit, we have Zeus getting closer to his Wit's End, Faker getting closer to Void Staff, Guma just sitting on 3 items, still very far off his Cyrildas though.
Void Staff going to be very important for Faker.
yeah.
He doesn't have any form of penetration so far, and he's the only AP source on his team, so if he wants to hit something with a lot of damage, and speaking of which, Peanut looks like he's burning down. Faker not going to take the chance as he flashes in. Peanut just caught in mid lane, and now Paze is getting run down. He's all alone, trying to trade it back. That's 2 free kills and maybe a bit more. As we do have the Cyclone into this backline, Owner's going way deep by himself. He's got a stopwatch though, and he should be totally fine. 2 kills on the board now for T1. Where will they go from here? Is it the Baron? Looks like that's where their sights.
Oh, and a rough game here for Peanut. Did just now finish his locket. Maybe that could have saved him previously. Not going to be the case. Love the itemization choice, but dying there might have been a game-ending mistake. Valdez is now T1 going to be able to pick themselves up the Baron. And a beautiful catch from Faker. And the immediate, you see the kind of cutthroat, killer instinct that's available.
Faker's here. He's waiting for this. He's not going to stop the inner turret from going down, but
yeah, it's still
either way.
Wits and Jax, so gotta be careful. And this might be the play that ends up winning the game. Straight up, Peanut just gets CC chained. Faker then flashes to ensure the kill, and Paze and the Light are very far up because they feel safe. We have double TP coming through as well, but unfortunately not in time to actually turn the tide of this fight. So not only do you lose your Draven and a bunch of stacks to go with it, not only do you lose your jungler, which means that objective is immediately available, but despite T1 still sitting at a gold deficit, they are now in firm control of this game for at least the next 2 minutes.
Baron's definitely going to help. It's going to remove some of that side laning from Doran. It is going to give them a chance to fight 5v5 front to back and look for more picks. That's what their comp does.
And in a minute and a half, it's that Mountain Drake.
They're going to have the Baron buff for that time. See that under turret, Chovy and Paze do a pretty good job of just, clearing waves, even against Baron. So T1, unless they want to dive, which they're not really in a position to in this game, they're not really going to have a great time of just sieging. So rather than do that, they're just going to try to rotate. Look for other angles.
T1 back comes through from Keria, making his way back home, trying to ensure that all the ward items are stacked up. Yeah, only 100 stacks now for Pace. Still able to finish his RFC, which into the T1 comp is great. You really can use that damage, but the lack of a Lord Dominix does make me a little sad. You're already facing down double Mountain Drake. Top half of T1 is incredibly tanky. Even Faker. Sure, Annie not necessarily a tank by any means, but still with the Zhonyas, the health from Roa and the extra resistances.
Owner's like, I can't dash over the wall. I have to flash. The junglers this game.
This might be the game-deciding fight, Valdez.
Yeah, I think we're about to have it here. Now no flash on your Wukong. That is one of your big engage champions on the side of T1. Stellaite, he's just looking for any angle he can find. Chovy, decent amount of damage already onto him. It is just the one dragon. Here comes Zanes, though, with the wraparound as the arrow going to hit the clone. And no Poppy ultimate. This is going to be a potential fight angle for T1 as Meganar comes in, and the kiting from Keria's bullets is pretty strong, but T1 not finding an angle just yet. Tibbers is down and just zoning. And yeah, T1 not going to pull the trigger on this one.
Another heist. Gen G able to make their way out. And now the next Drake, whoever picks it up, will get that coveted Mountain Soul. Incredible amount of extra resistances. And for T1, this poses a problem. We will see Guma going towards the Cyrilda, getting closer to that now. Faker also has Void Staff available, but the damage of Zeus and Owner definitely not going to be nearly as relevant. Keria in particular going to be extremely sad. You want to play who wins this game, Valdez?
I don't know if I want to play that here. I can't choose.
It's tough. Really will come down to the fight for, I assume,
It's
the Baron?
Yeah, it's basically the pick potential of T1 versus the sustained damage of Gen G. Like, if we get into a fight and nobody on Gen G dies and you've got, like, a good front to back, you don't get flanked by an R, probably the Victor and the Draven are just going to pull you over the edge. Like, even the Jax at this point. Like,
Absolutely.
Doran will be able to teleport in these fights and play teamfight Jax, like, that's fine. With the build that he's got and the amount that we've come into this game. Zeus? Okay. Actually, just a Giga Chad move. Like, he's totally fine. As everybody, including Jonas Strong, was like, wait, whoa, you can't do that. Zeus is like, I can do whatever I want.
Oh, Peanut. Is it a trap?
Oh, not
For
again.
who?
Okay, yeah, seems like he knows about it. He's not going to get locked down.
He's running.
Sephiroth's presence going to help out a lot.
I love this locket, by the way, from Peanut. We already mentioned it. Last time it was in not so positive fashion because he died just before buying it, but will actually help because the upfront burst from T1 is the most dangerous part of their composition.
Yeah.
Between Annie and Zay's getting a big combo and then Gumayushi throwing an arrow on top of it, that's really what can end up costing you the game. And with this locket might be the difference between getting just a little bit of extra time, a little bit of extra damage. I really like Gen G's position in this game. T1 gonna have to find an absolutely monstrous flank or another pick, like they got into Peanut.
Yeah, just pick them, forehead. You know, like, what could go wrong? Faker in a little bit of trouble, though. He's getting alley-oops, and he can't get out. That's going to be Faker now getting caught as Thorn in a bit of trouble, but he is Jax, and he's got a stopwatch. He's in a perfectly fine spot, even hops forward as Owner's clone will bite the dust. Doran, though, not able to, go into this fight, and Perry is actually looking to snipe him out here. Not quite going to be able to, as the chase is on. Zeus trying to buy as much time as possible. Even will Meganar them out as Owner not long for this world. Oh, trying to turn it around, but GA is popped. And down will go the Wukong eventually. You'd have to imagine, yep, there it is. Another stun, and the follow-up from the laser is enough. As this Baron is Gen G's, unless Guma can steal it again. Nope, not this time.
Might die for it. Not gonna be the case. We'll walk it off.
Oh boy.
That could be the game-winning pick after Faker picks Peanut.
That's what you said last time, Chronicler.
Well, I keep thinking, and it just hasn't happened yet. But, yeah, Peanut coming through there. This is Faker dying as well, again, with flash and stopwatch available. Can't have that happen at this point in the game. Going to be the Baron going over. We see Doran, what initially looks like an over-enthusiastic engage. Yes, Zhonya, not stopwatch. Zonya's finished. Of course, Jax able to build that now. Owner trying.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, I love it. Owner trying to get out, but knows that he is pretty much gone. And this is really costly, not just because of them giving up the Baron, but also because Owner now doesn't have GA. And that cooldown is going to take a large amount of time. You're not going to have it available for the next soul fight as well. And Gen G might have done it. That would be a very anticlimactic ending, but if they get this soul...
Uh-oh. Here we go again! Seems like he's okay.
Okay, everyone's fine. Come on, don't get overexcited, fellas.
I don't know. This is... Okay, we have 6 Elemental Drakes in the game. We're about to have number 7. Meganar is gone. Now, this down it goes. Doran's got a great position, too, just to prevent any flanks this time around. Chovy kind of covering the top side. And like I said before, as long as nobody gets picked and nobody gets out of position or flanked, Gen G will have the advantage here. As there we go, there's the arrow in, and Faker's gone. You don't have your Annie anymore. Now that's Mountain Soul to Gen G. Just like that.
Disaster for T1. Mountain Soul on the enemy team. Not a lot of members that can easily shred through these health bars. Now, support Jhin generally not going to scale that well necessarily, but going to be way worse with the beefiness. Baron's still available for another minute. Gen G looking for the end.
Okay, they find peace, and he really dies! Oh, man! That is the one guy that you cannot have picked, in fact.
Sums.
I mean, everybody can die to the damage as, okay, Carry is searching. He's going to hit a Poppy as TP in the mid. Going to prevent some backside, I guess. Here comes the arrow.
Oh!
It's going to hit him and deny this turret. That was a very long-range arrow as well. Saw the TP and a very easy lineup for Delight this time.
Oh, if there isn't a Baron buff, that TP I love because it will definitely allow you the time, but now with Bex being half as short, Gen G able to get back in time thanks to also a nicely timed arrow from Delight. And maybe it's poetic justice if this all just comes down to the one Elder flip in 4.5 minutes.
That's just the way it has to be.
Does it?
Yes. That's what we need. I mean, it's game 3 of this series. We need an Elder flip. Like, we need to top it off with the cherry on top. Otherwise, what are we doing?
I just love one team fight that doesn't start with one
Somebody
person
getting
just
picked?
dying. Yeah.
Well, T1 would love the opposite. They would love a team fight that would start off with somebody getting picked, not on their team.
It's so tough. Ashe into the later we get into the game, like Delight's ult cooldown is already kind of dumb, and it's gonna get worse.
Yeah.
The game is going on for so long now that he's just gonna be able to fire arrow on like 20-25-second cooldowns. And look at T1. Who actually has a way of getting out of the way for an arrow? It's Zeus and Owner, and that's pretty much it.
Pretty much it's got to be Owner. Oh no, here we go again. Peanut is caught and down he will go. The jungler of Gen G is out of the game.
It keeps happening.
And here comes Owner. They're gonna get even more after this as Chovy not sure about that one as in he goes, down he will go, and Pays is just gonna get sniped by the Jin. That might just do it, guys. I don't know. Gen G are looking for some kind of escape. It's Delight, he's got volleys for days, and that boomerang will miss, so it looks like Doran and Delight survive, but that is against 5 members at T1.
Why?
Well, 4.
Why? How is this happening again?
Teleport wards? What's gonna happen? Here comes Doran trying to frontline for his Ashe, and he's surviving quite a long time. The Zhonya's is buying time, and he gets out, but Owner won't have it. He will not have it. Down will go the turrets as they gotta click on the Nexus as Tibbers is just gone, but it doesn't matter. One auto will do it. T1 will take the game in 45 minutes.
What an ending!
all it takes.
Build up, and for what? Peanut walks into Onward the territory and dies. Oh, T1 get the victory. And all I can think is, give me more of these.
Give me
2 more.
Gimme.
I need to vote. Oh,
I think in this case you can vote for Tibbers pretty. You know, you can have a clear head as you vote for Tibbers.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, no,
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
I think it's fine.
I'm not in any state of mind to vote after that one. We'll see what happens. Might be some English cast kick W's, but that's okay because after a series like that and after an ending like that, you're gonna need a little bit of time to recalibrate because
even T1, like Zeus jumped out of his chair and everybody's face has just got this sheepish grin of like, oh crap, that was closer than it should have been.
Oh,
we got the pick and
not the Gen G pans.
I mean, what can you say though? Like, that's, you know, Peanut doesn't have a spot, but he did have some trouble with getting picked in the series, and I think T1 were almost just waiting for it.
Well,
and again, that's how their composition works. Like, you cannot face check T1's comp because you will die. It doesn't matter if you're Scion with 17 items, you're gonna die.
And particularly when you have Ashe, one of the best AD carries in the game. I guess in this case,
that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
I like that, Guma. One of the best supports / AD carries in the game for getting vision in unknown territory. That's one of the reasons why the pick is as impressive as it is. As T1
we also had the Fox. He's like, do it again?
Yes.
There it is.
That one's for all my anime fans. Love it.
I still don't know what anime it's from, and I would like to keep it that way.
I have told you repeatedly, Valdez. You never listen to me.
I keep deleting that memory from my brain. It's okay. No, it's fine. Anime's cool. Weeb's in. Either way, what a series we had here. It all came down to just, you know, a couple of stuns, a couple of pick engages. But it did start with T1 kind of getting a big lead and then Gen G clawing it back.